From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Just about 7 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up early in the morning. So I woke up to the news of, and I can't even really call this horrific individual a president, but the president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi, is no more. He died. The foreign minister of Iran has died. The provincial governor and bodyguards and others all killed in a helicopter crash in Azerbaijan. The Iranian president, known as the Butcher of Tehran, came into office in a corrupt election. They fake like it's democratic, and it's not. This guy, it is widely believed and generally accepted that he murdered countless people. And I don't wish this on anyone, but I'm not going to spend much time on it other than to say the vice president takes over and there should be an election, if that's even more than just saying the words. There should be an election within 50 days, which seems to be how they will handle it. He lost. Just came to me. He did lose Raisi back in 2017. He won in 2020, or maybe it was 2021, one or the other. He lost to Hassan Rouhani. Now, Rouhani was considered much more moderate. This Raisi, very, very hardline and just horrifically bad individual. He led mass executions of thousands of people. So he's done. 63 years old. Bye-bye. Onward we go from there. You know, I just want to slip this in because I won't get a chance to mention it. It's not really my intention to make this one of the lead items of our program this morning. And when it's a big deal. It's my favorite musician of all time. Even though my favorite band is Chicago, I think if I had to pick one person, I would pick Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney, I thought this was true a while ago. I've looked him up. I think he's been a billionaire for quite a while now, but he's being recognized as Britain's first billionaire musician. He is reported to be worth £1.27 billion. So he's been a billionaire in American terms. Now he's recognized as a billionaire in the United Kingdom and Britain's first ever billionaire. They do like a list. It's called the annual Sunday Times Rich List. He's 81 years old. His wealth has grown by £50 million, and that is due to last year's McCartney's 2023 Got Back tour. Also, the rising value of his back catalog, Beyonce's cover of the Beatles' Blackbird on her Cowboy Carter album, and that final Beatles song, which was discovered. Actually, it was rediscovered because through technology, they were able to bring the tracks that had other noise on it, and they were able to isolate it and grab the tracks with surviving Beatles, McCartney and Ringo Starr completing a demo track that was recorded in 1977 by the late John Lennon, adding in the guitar playing of George Harrison, who died in 2001, and they were able to release the song Now and Then. Pretty cool. See, to me, that is a great use of artificial intelligence. By the way, the artificial intelligence had nothing to do with, if you put George Harrison and it's him playing, I don't really consider that AI at all. To me, that's just editing. Maybe somebody looks at it differently than that, but that's the way that I look at it. But when you can grab the Lennon audio that before was unusable, that's pretty cool. So they in the United Kingdom, they do, we have the Forbes list. They have the 350 richest people in the United Kingdom. And it is Sir Paul McCartney, almost smack dab in the middle, a little better than the middle, at number 165. You've got J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter fame. Her fortune is estimated to be £945 million. And singer Elton John made the list at £470 million. King Charles ranks number 258 at an estimated wealth of £610 million. You know what I'm confused about? How is King Charles worth more than Queen Elizabeth? Queen Elizabeth, I guess he just took more money. I mean, Queen Elizabeth was in there for what? 70-some years? 80 years, whatever it was? I don't know how that's possible other than, I don't know, Charles got paid more money. I actually don't think he's going to be king. You think about, he was never, just because of the age he took over, he was never going to be king like his mother was, queen. But he might ultimately have a very short time. I don't think this whole cancer thing is going well at all. I honestly would not be surprised if Prince William is the King of England. I like Prince William. There's a lot going on there right now, though. Whew, they've got a lot of issues. But I would not be surprised if there is King William. I'm going to throw a number out. Within a year to 18 months. It's my guesstimate. We have a lot to share with you this morning, and I try each day to bring you new polling data. I will do so again in just a little bit. Oh, I'm going to try to make this mention every hour. Let me tell you something. I don't know if you've ever experienced something like this. And when I found out about this on Saturday, I said to this individual that, with your permission, I would like to make a few mentions on air to try to help you. And she told me how much she would appreciate that. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't know within a couple of weeks where you would be living? In other words, that you'd be homeless in a couple of weeks. Now, this is an individual that I've known for over 45 years. And she has worked at the same place for more than 45 years. How's that for dependability, consistency? And you think about that. That means you're able to work with so many different people, likely different owners, different bosses, different colleagues at the same, level. I just think that's tremendous. I mean, I'm proud of 32 years this July 1st. 45 years. She is an absolutely phenomenal person. Now, someone very close to me is working with her, and it's just an indication of how hard it is right now to find a place to live. She's been in a very stable situation, but the place that she lives is being sold, and she has to get out. So she's running out of time. I mean, I don't vouch for too many people. I vouch for this individual. My heart is heavy finding out that within a few weeks she will not have a place to stay. So my appeal is this. If you have an apartment, and I don't do this for many people because a recommendation is a reflection of, me as well. But this individual is a phenomenal person, incredibly responsible, just a great person. So if you have a one-bedroom apartment, get a hold of me. You can do it through the radio station. You can email me, harryhurley@AOL.com, 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 and then I will get you in touch with this individual. But, I mean, somebody that you would not ever have to even worry about what kind of condition your place would be. It's hard to find good people. And right now it's very hard to find a place to live. We are living in very, very challenging times. So I hope somebody out there has a one-bedroom apartment, and that could be anywhere: Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, offshore. No restrictions. Anywhere in the sort of greater Atlantic City area, metro area, if you will. We'll be back. It's 19 minutes past the hour. I am Hurley in the Morning.
Mark Levin.
Anybody who votes for Joe Biden hates the country because Joe Biden hates the country. Anybody who votes for Joe Biden supports what he's done to our legal system. Anybody who votes for Joe Biden supports that he has funded Iran, he's armed Iran, he has supported Hamas by funding Iran and Hezbollah and all the rest of the damn alphabet soup in the Middle East.
Mark Levin on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Fox News commentary.
President Biden is reclassifying marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug under federal law because he really needs voters. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
When you can't run on your record, your economy, your foreign policy, your likability, or your cognitive abilities, you turn to weed, abortion, and student loans as the focus of your platform. That is precisely what Joe Biden's failing campaign has turned to. President Biden recently moved to reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug under federal law. Joe claims he made this change to confront the failed war on drugs and address inequities in the justice system. But really, this is another vote grab. Joe's campaign doesn't have much to go on, so they pick the lowest hanging fruits: student loan freebies, abortion free-for-alls, and weed. We still don't know the long-term consequences of marijuana use, but Democrats and Joe Biden, they don't care. They need something to energize a dwindling base, and this is the easiest way to do it. So sad. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Hurley in the Morning.
Not only the news, but perspective too.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
One of the coolest things that happened this weekend, losers at the NYU graduation, anti-Israel scumbags, they were protesting. They refused to leave stage and I guess elsewhere at the graduation ceremony, and this beautiful 6-year-old little girl who drew a large purple heart. The purple was the color she chose because of the color of the school colors. And it's the coolest thing I think we're going to see in a long time. She, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she holds up the purple heart and the place goes wonderfully bonkers. And the little girl told her mom, "That's brave of me, isn't it?" How cool is that? You have these young adults behaving very, very badly, and then you have a little 6-year-old girl just bringing the house down. I absolutely love it. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you yet more polling data that just continues to support the boost in the polling data that President Trump is getting all over the country. But obviously the big focus is going to be on the battleground states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, really, and Wisconsin. And we should throw Virginia in there as well. I think there's a very good chance, and I don't think he's going to pick him, but maybe he will. If Trump picked Glenn Youngkin, I think Trump would win Virginia. I think he's close. I'm going to put Virginia on this list. I don't know why it's not already. That race right now is a couple of point race, which is why I keep telling you Trump has expanded the map. Biden's path to win is so incredibly narrow, and this is why he's doing these awful things. I'll tell you what, there has never been an American president that is trying to win the way that Joe Biden is. First of all, he's pandering right now to African-American organizations and universities and colleges and things, desperately trying to get African-American voters back that he has lost in a desperate, divisive theme. I mean, for example, at Morehouse College, Biden is calling America racist, that we're a racist nation. I don't believe anything that he was saying. This pandering lowlife that's so desperate. He brought up George Floyd. Why would an American president ever raise the name George Floyd? Why does George Floyd have a statue? Go look at the life he led. I know it's sad how he died, but this is no one. This is no hero. This is no one to look up to. Awful. Awful president, awful man. Absolute lowlife. But this is what you're going to get. Somewhere in my H phone, and I covered this when I worked nationally on Friday, I had the list of all the different African-American groups that Biden was speaking before. Let me see if I can find it real quick. God, I have so many photos. I don't know if you use your photos the way that I do, but I use them for reminders, for notes, articles that I'm going to write, obviously photos that I take. Let's see if I can find this. I just found me and Jack Chittarelli in Wildwood, looking like two happy guys. I like that. Let's see. I can find this. Come on, stay with me. Hey, you know what made my day? We had a wonderful lunch on Saturday in Atlantic City, and the bill was like $71. And I tipped the waitress, and I say food server, not waitress, $100. Good feeling. Let's see. The only reason I saw that is I just saw the receipt in my phone. Let me see. Where'd it go? I really do want to find this. Boy, I have so much stuff in this phone. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I thought I had it, like, at my fingertips. But it's a list of all the different places where Biden is pandering. I thought I had it. Oh, well, it's a waste of time to... Is it here? No. I have a fabulous graph on inflation under Joe Biden because he keeps saying that it was at over 9% when he became president, and no, it wasn't. Somebody's writing me about George Floyd. I know everything I need to know about George Floyd. I don't need to know any more. Remind me, I made notes about Scotty Scheffler. Absolutely disgusting what was done to him. Terrible. Evidently, Kentucky prosecutors are going to undo it. I'll talk about that after the next break. You can see I really want to find this Biden thing. Guess I'm not... Oh, there we go. See? Never give up. Never, ever quit. You only lose when you quit. All right, so May 15th, Biden interviews with, they always say black journalists. I don't like that. African-American journalists. Thursday, May 16th, meeting with Brown versus Board of Education families. May 17th, remarks at the NAACP event at African American History Museum in Washington, D.C. Saturday, May 18th, Atlanta event focused on engaging, quote, black voters. And Sunday, May 19th, Detroit for NAACP Freedom Dinner. And also what should be in there is the speech at Morehouse College, the very divisive, purposely divisive speech to try to pander, to try to get back African-American support that he has lost. All right, when we come back, I will share with you polling data. Count with me: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states. If you're a Joe Biden supporter, you're not going to be happy when we come back. If you're not a Joe Biden supporter, you will be euphoric at what I'm about to share with you. For I am early in the morning. Open forum coming up a little more than a half hour from now. Hope you'll participate with anything that's important that's on your mind. 609-407-1450 phone lines will be open. 8 o'clock hour, I will tell you when we get there or get closer to then. And 9 o'clock hour, unless he knows something that I don't know, we are expecting Mayor Charles Kane. We'll be back. Oh, and I want to thank Charles and Anne Marie coming up as well, because they're stepping up to do something very, very good for the Early in the Morning charity.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Oh, I had a busy weekend and now already a busy morning where I've written 3 articles this morning before you were even awake. 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. Atlantic City refuses to act. The state of New Jersey must suspend the Atlantic City mayor's wife. Great food, service, and atmosphere at this Atlantic City restaurant. Check it out. And New Jersey and Atlantic City could have been Hollywood for movies. Could have been, should have been.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. We've really turned the corner as of yesterday. Looking forward to a warmer, brighter, drier weather pattern taking hold this week. High temperature today around 70. An onshore breeze will keep the coast in the 60s. Look for sunshine with passing clouds and dry weather. A few clouds tonight with patchy fog possible, low of 56. Tomorrow gets even warmer, 78 with sunshine, 82 Wednesday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Brigantine, Mays Landing.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
As you wake up this morning, I can share with you wonderful polling data, which we've been doing for quite a while, and you see why. Look, I always tell you, don't listen to what Joe Biden and his fellow liars who lie about lying. Don't listen to them. Just watch what they do. Don't listen to what they say. I get asked all the time, how do you figure all this stuff out? It's very simple. I know they're lying, and the exact opposite of what they say is the truth. It's very simple. You can do it too. Don't think I'm not doing anything special. I just don't allow myself to get caught up with the echo chamber, the Democrat echo chamber that tried to tell everybody, oh, Biden's on a roll, Biden's doing great. Oh, yeah, really? Okay. Keep saying it. You know, when you say something, it doesn't make it so. You've got to be able to back it up, or it's nothing. So am I surprised that 7 states that were polled, all 7 Trump leads? I repeat, all 7. And this is Newsweek stuff. This isn't some outlier Republican poll. This is Democrat stuff, Democrat polling. And what's really good about it is this is a average of all the polling that there is. So for the states, and some of them are commonwealths, but just stay with me. The media is always stupid when it comes to this kind of stuff. They say all 7 states when it's 6 states and 1 commonwealth. And if you threw Virginia in there, it would be 6 states and 2 commonwealths. But leave that to us, because we are precise and we like to get things right. They don't even know. Oh, state of Pennsylvania. No, it's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. State of Virginia. No, it's the Commonwealth of Virginia. Arizona is a state. Georgia is a state. Michigan is a state. Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin are states. Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth. I just gave you 7. 7. President Trump leads in all 7. So understand something. If you take all the states, and I don't say this for any reason other than it's true, a handful of states are undecided. Out of 50 states, about 42 of them are already over. You've got about 6 to 8 that are not. Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Again, I don't know why they're not including Virginia, but Virginia is very, very close right now. With really, when you think about it, it's not 5 months. It's not 5.5 months. Voters are going to be voting in September. This thing is close. I wish it was even closer. So here we go. You have for Arizona 49% Trump, 42.8% Biden. 6.2 lead. Let's see. Let me keep going. Okay. Georgia, which Biden won in 2020 by a scant, is very, very close. Under 20,000 votes. Very, very close. Ridiculously close. Biden won for the first time since Bill Clinton. President Trump currently leads 49.4 to 43.3. His lead has grown to 6.1%. Trump won North Carolina by only 1.3% in 2020. He now leads by 4.6%. Michigan also witnessed a jump in Trump favorability, Trump support. I like to say this, Michiganders, 49% favor President Trump. 45% Joe Biden, 4 points. Trump leads in Pennsylvania by 2 points. 48. Actually, it's 3. 48 to 45. Let's see. Nevada, Trump 50.4. Biden 43.6, 6.8. And in the more recent polls, though, see, these are all averaged. In the more recent polls, Trump leads by 12 and by 13. Let's see. So Nevada by 7. Arizona by 6.1. Georgia by 6.1. North Carolina by 4.6. Michigan by 4 even. Pennsylvania by 3. And Wisconsin, and this one is a really big deal. You've got Trump up in Wisconsin by 6.8%. That has always been like a even, Biden even up by 1 or 2, Trump up by 2, something like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, who's the announcer that says, "There it is"? Like Marv Albert. There it is. This is big. This is very big. And of course, Biden's out there. I don't believe the polls. Yeah, everywhere he goes, the polls are wrong. I don't believe the polls. Good. Good. You'll be very surprised then on election night. I didn't believe the polls. What happened? I didn't believe them. Remember, Democrats are not about earning your vote. They are about collecting ballots. It's a very big difference. Much more. I've got more polling data when we come back. And again, I don't want to sound repetitive. If you're a Joe Biden fan, cover your ears. You're not going to like what you're about to hear.
Early in the morning.
It tends to make me feel a little bit more intelligent.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
It's the topics that matter to me.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Hey, thank you. It's Harry Hurley with a special offer from my friends at Ambient Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning Professionals. Get your air conditioning system checked now. I can tell you, I was looking ahead. It really will start. It's been shocking to me how cool it's been, but it will be getting warm and staying there. And then it'll eventually feel like summer. But don't wait until you're sweaty and miserable and your system is not keeping up. The sooner you discover a problem, the easier the repairs tend to be. And while the price of just about everything has gone up, Ambient Comfort's tune-up special is the same affordable price. Now, they come to the Ponderosa twice a year. We love it. They do such a great job. They check our heating system, and they check our air conditioning system. They do a really, really great job in your home. And if you're a new customer, this service call is just $59. And I can promise you it's well worth it. Their certified technicians will perform a thorough precision tune-up on your system to make sure it's safe and running at maximum efficiency and prepared to get you through the summer heat. Give them a call at 609-568-0955. That's 609-568-0955. Or you can schedule your tune-up on the web at ambientcomfortnj.com, ambientcomfortnj.com. for your $59 air conditioner tune-up for new customers. Tell them Harry Hurley sent you. 49 minutes past the hour. Bloomberg poll. Again, no friend of Trump. This is the April Bloomberg Morning Consult poll. Here we go. Ready? What is it? 32% of respondents said that they are faring better under Joe Biden than they did under President Trump. However, 51%, and this is just registered voters, and again, it's in only 7 key swing states. You're going to get a little sick. I'm going to try not to make you sick of it, but it's what the media is going to do. They're not going to really cover California, and they're not going to cover all the Republican states that are in the bag. They're going to cover the ones that it could go either way, because that is going to decide who the next president of the United States will be. How about this? There's been a cumulative inflation rate under Joe Biden of 19.4% inflation. It was a mere 1.4% when President Trump left office. Disposable personal income per capita, that's the money that's available for spending after taxes and adjusted for inflation. It's no go. It was a mere 1/4 under Trump of what it is now. Asked about 15 economic issues, the 4,969 respondents that were surveyed cited the cost of everyday goods as their number one concern. So Trump wins there, and he's winning bigly. That's BIGLY. Financial Times poll. President Trump leads Biden with the economy. 53% who trust him compared to 35% who trust Biden. And, you know, you just have to wonder. I always point this out to you. I always tell you it's going to be like low 30, something like that. Who are these people? And how sick are you? You can't be honest? You don't want more of this either. I don't care what you say. You don't want more of it either. Now, let me spend a couple of minutes on something, because it's very revealing to me. And keep in mind, I like Travis Kelce, so this is not a shot on him. I mean, I like his brother a lot better. I just think Jason all around just seems like a better guy to me. But I like Travis Kelce, and he's a great tight end. Some will say he's the greatest in the league. I'm not sure about that, but I won't argue about that at all. So I want to spend a moment just telling you the comparison. I looked at two things. Harrison Butker and his commencement address back on May 11th, and one that Travis Kelce did right before that. Travis Kelce actually cracked open a beer and turned it upside down and just started just crazy guzzling it. So that was his message to students. Harris, and of course, he is just worshipped for that. Harrison Butker gave a very traditional speech that drove the radical left crazy. And of course, they interpret what he said for him. They want to leave you with the impression that he's basically said, you know, women belong in the kitchen with an apron and probably like their hiney hanging out in the back. I mean, they don't tell you the context of exactly what a traditional speech. He spoke a lot about men. He spoke about wives. He spoke about a lot of different things. But it drove the left insanely crazy, even crazier than they already are. Good news is, though, the Harrison Butker number 7 jersey is either the number 1 selling jersey in the NFL or one of the top as we speak, literally as we speak. Do you know there was a petition? And I shouldn't say it in the past tense. There is a petition that had something like 150,000 signatures calling for the Kansas City Chiefs to release Harrison Butker. Now, why would you do that? What would be the cause for that? What did he do other than exercise his right of free speech to share his philosophy of traditional family values, having children, raising children? I mean, what did he do? You could disagree, but he didn't say that women shouldn't work or can't work or can only be homemakers. He just got very emotional and said what his wife means to him and that he's been able to do what he does because she does what she does and they do what they do together. I mean, I thought it was an uplifting. I understand when he did the piece about the homemaker thing, it drove the left insanely crazy, worse than ever. But I thought it was terrific, actually, and very, very traditional, not threatening to anyone, and you don't have to like what he does. You don't have to like it at all. But I just thought, wow, the difference of Harrison Butker delivering a traditional values-type speech, commencement address, and Travis Kelce with the beer can chugging it down. One is highly praised, of course, the beer guy, and Butker is savaged. What a threat that is to the radical left. It's Harry Hurley asking you to join my friends at United Methodist Communities at the Shores in Ocean City for their 13th annual Father's Day Classic Car Show. It's Saturday, June 15th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Tuesday, June 18th from 10 a.m. to 12 noon for a free memory screening event. It's really important. If you're considering senior living options for yourself or a loved one, I recommend United Methodist Communities at the Shores in Ocean City. Here's why. It's fully remodeled, beautiful private apartments, 2 restaurants, a bistro on the first floor, an on-site fitness center. When you actually arrive to the property, it feels like you're checking in to a 4-diamond, 4-star, 5-diamond, 5-star hotel resort. It has that vibe. And you see the bistro straight ahead, the front desk straight in a little bit to the right. It's fantastic. And they're just 3 short blocks from the Ocean City Boardwalk and Beach. The Shores is proud to present insightful and fun events for our community, so don't miss the Father's Day Classic Car Show, Saturday, June 15th, 9 to 1, and a free memory screening event open to the public on Tuesday, June 18th from 10 a.m. until 12 noon at the Shores, 2201 Bay Avenue in Ocean City, 2201 Bay Avenue in Ocean City. RSVP for the memory event by calling Michelle at 609-399-8505. That's 609-399-8505. Tell them Hurley in the Morning sent you. To United Methodist Communities at the Shores in Ocean City. All right, the music says we have to go in just a moment. I do want to bring up, again, one of these just disparities, these things that happen. Clarence Thomas, constantly under attack. This guy's been under attack by Democrats since his confirmation hearings before Joe Biden's committee when he was the chairman of Judiciary. Joe Biden, on the other hand, he left off free vacations at multi-million-dollar homes from his ethics forums. Nobody gives him any grief. Clarence Thomas, they're all over him. Joe Biden took 4 vacations at the homes of wealthy supporters in 2023, not ancient history, none of which were listed as gifts on the official forms that he's required to fill out and sign as president. The annual paperwork is done by federal office holders, including judges, yes, and presidents. What a difference, huh? All right, call me now, 609-407-1450.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
If you really think about it, and welcome back, 6 minutes past the hour, and you're tuned into the Hurley in the Morning program, we thank you for that. And it's wide open forum for all of this hour. So I hope you will take full advantage and call in with whatever is important or whatever is on your mind. 609-407-1450. This is not a new strategy. And it must, I've often said this, it must be terrible to be on the side that everything they say and do is divisive and ugly. I mean, Joe Biden speaking to young adults who are the future of our country, it's a very controversial speech to divide the country and to tell these students, lie to them that rights are going to be taken away from them if he doesn't win. This is disgusting. Bringing up George Floyd in a very divisive way, not at all honoring the greatness of America, but calling America a racist country. He's disgraceful. He's disgusting. Biden should have been providing inspiration about the greatness of America. Instead, he's trying to employ divisive tactics to try to get back African-American voters that he has lost. It is a pandering that is desperate and very, very ugly, very political. Imagine lying that rights are going to be taken away or that your country, he said that your country doesn't love you. What's wrong with this man? They load up that teleprompter. That should be hate speech is what that should be. Under their rules, they should be charging him for that. Merrick Garland should be running in with handcuffs. It's ridiculous. And if it works, it works. But I just don't know how you can sell that to anyone. Who wants to hear that? And they're not talking much about it, but students did at Morehouse College turned their back on Biden. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Welcome to the program. Glad you called in. You're on the air.
So many things, Harry. Good morning.
Yes.
And
by the way, it's not official yet, but I am efforting mightily to try to free up a spot for Gray. So please let him know I am trying hard, and I will be in touch in the near future.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Harry. I really appreciate that. It's always a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Real class event for anybody.
Thank you.
Just real quickly about Morehouse. I was just thinking real quickly, why didn't he tell the truth? This is how bad you have it, ... under me and Robert Byrd, the Grand Kleagle. He never shied.
No, but instead he announces that the very first organization he ever belonged to was the NAACP. Do you believe that for a second? This guy was a segregationist for almost his entire life. Come on. The first organization he ever joined was the NAACP. I want to fact check that one. And of course he talks about all this work that he did during the civil rights movement that nobody believes he was there.
Oh, he did not want schools segregated, and he was very proud of that.
Yes.
And he doubled down on it throughout his 50-year career.
Yeah, and you mentioned him. His idol, his mentor, he was the protege of Robert Byrd, a Grand Kleagle of the KKK.
Harry, you know what scared me this morning? Actually, I was scared. I was kind of, because if that had been orchestrated, by President Joe Biden, the downing of the president of Iran's helicopter, he'd be back in business today of being our reelected president. But just by bad luck, the president was down during bad weather in a helicopter.
Correct.
So
yeah, shame. But yet Israel had to come out and say, and I don't blame them, they had to come out and say we didn't have anything to do with that because there's so much heat on Israel.
That's
I know.
isn't that funny while you're mentioning that? And I love this Pope. I think he's a great guy, and I know he has he has one lung and then partial whatever. But he's saying to us, keep letting these people in. Let them into the Pope's town, just like, all these people from Martha's Vineyard. Let them into your private gated community.
Andrea, trivia question. What is built high and proud around the Vatican?
A great big wall.
Correct.
Lastly, I want to bring up university Christian hate speech. Okay? My God. On the family and family values and the value of fathers and mothers. I was just so, so insulted by that versus, Ivy League at all schools, Free Palestine, we're Hamas, and you're a bunch of pigs. I don't know. You guys choose. Thanks, Harry.
Thank you. It is sick. I know. It is twisted as can be. Caller, you're going to be next. Let's get the break in so we can give you a nice long call next on the Hurley in the Morning program. We'll be back in just a little bit. You can join us next at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450 on the Hurley in the Morning program.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
It's well-balanced conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
A conservative underground meets right now. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All of this is stacked. It's everything she said with Stormy Daniels. Irrelevant, immaterial, nothing to do with the charges in the case. But let's muddy the water so the jury gets confused. Culminating in their star witness that gets slaughtered yesterday. I mean, he got gutted on that stand yesterday. The people deciding the verdict, oh, great. 9 out of 10 registered Democrats. Little less than 9 out of 10 not voting for Trump in 2020. Great. That's a fair venue. This is not the country we want. And I'd be saying that if it was a Democrat. I don't want Republicans abusing the law. I want equal justice under the law. I want equal application of our laws.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
All right, winter's officially left the building, so why not spring forward and freshen up your home with new premium window treatments from our friends at Blinds.com. Now, Blinds.com, they created a better way to shop for stylish blinds and shades and shutters and even motorized options. Everything is 100% online. Now, you can do the measure and install yourself, or just let the pros at Blinds.com handle it. Now, you can have multiple window coverings installed for just one low cost. And if you're not sure what's best for maybe an odd-shaped window or to block the sun on your patio, well, Blinds.com, they have design professionals that will help you for free. And they'll send free samples directly to you. Plus, with Blinds.com, you always get transparent pricing on their website. Never any hidden fees, no hassle, no multiple trips to a store. Blinds.com has free shipping and their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Just shop right now at Blinds.com. Save up to 45%. Get up to 45% off for a limited time when you go to Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
I listen every morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. It's 18 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the morning program. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. Pleased to report Joe Girallo is going to join us for the 8 o'clock hour, and it's all based on his schedule. I have a message out to him. We may be joined at 8:35 by Curtis Bashaw, who did what I think everybody that's in office should have done and everyone that's running for federal office should do, and that is visit our southern border. So we'll be talking about that if the candidate is available, and if not today, in the near future. And we are expecting, we'll confirm a little bit later in the program, we're expecting Mayor Charles Kane for the 9 o'clock hour. And I want to thank Charles and Anne Marie Kane because they have once again, they have donated a beautiful Kane's custom cart for the hole-in-one. We have 2 hole-in-one holes. One is for $5,000, and we appreciate Mayor Vaughn Reel and Margie for putting that together. And then that's a $5,000 hole-in-one hole. And then we have the Kane's custom cart for the second hole-in-one hole. And it is, I mean, the one that the mayor brought last year was absolutely amazing. And Curtis Bashaw will be with us at 8:35. Let me just write him back. I'll tell you what, he's got a really good shot in this thing. He is right there. Give me one sec. All right, right back to your call, 609-407-1450. Thanks for checking in. You're on the air. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. Hi there.
Hi, good morning, Harry. Thanks for taking my phone call.
My honor.
So I just have like a few points I want to make. Here's my theory about the helicopter crash with the Iranian president. See, they're going to try to make it sound like either America or Israel took him out. I don't think that happened. What I think there's a power struggle in Iran. I think you have all these different factions. Well, I understand, I did the research, and it looks like he was slated to take over for the Ayatollah. He was next on the list to get to be the supreme leader, pretty much. So the problem is when you're at that top dog spot in Iran, your head's on a chopping block if you just piss off one faction. So I think they're going to say, well, Iran or Israel, United States, or it was an American-made helicopter. It's 27 years old. It was foggy. But I think they did it from within. I think from within the country, I think somebody took them out. That's why.
I think we have to wait and see. I think helicopters are very dangerous. The weather was terrible. They were in the area of Azerbaijan, and I think it just went down. Israel came out very, very fast and said, we didn't do it, because obviously, they'll get blamed. I don't believe we did it. Let's be real. We couldn't have done it because Joe Biden, he didn't even want to get Osama bin Laden. This guy will never do something like that, so we didn't do it. I think it just went down, and I don't think it was an inside job. the Ayatollah, that's his protege. He picked Ibrahim Raisi. He picked him. And this guy's been the butcher of Tehran. Now, I think that when this is all said and done, it just went down in very bad weather. I don't think anybody took him down or took them out. I mean, it's easy to just assume, oh, my God, they got the president, they got the foreign minister, they got the provincial governor, they got all these other people, bodyguards and such. I think it was just a terrible accident in bad weather. Kobe Bryant went down in bad weather. Helicopters are dangerous. There are a lot of people that will tell you they don't even, if you look at the engineering of a helicopter, they don't even know how they fly. I don't like them, actually. I've had an opportunity to ride helicopters. I'm in no rush.
Right. The other point I was going to make, I heard that lame speech that Biden gave to the one you were referencing when he was at college.
Terrible.
And it just shows his weakness, Harry, that he has no record to run on. But when you're referencing George Floyd, you're really grasping. And then he says you're going to lose your rights. It's funny how the media does no fact-checking on him because everything he says is a friggin' lie. But yet, when it comes to Donald Trump, every time he drinks a glass of water, we're going to fact-check him.
I'm hoping that, and I know hope is not a strategy, but I am hoping and praying that the American people are not buying this divisive Joe Biden that keeps trashing that America is a racist country and all these things that he does to try to get support in the worst possible way that you can, and that is by dividing people, that will not pay off for him.
No, it's not going to pay off. It just shows how desperate he is. He's grasping for everything now, and he has absolutely nothing to run on. But the other thing I was going to ask you, I heard the one radio show on Saturday morning, and they were saying this, I can't remember where it's at, but this Marine base where they're putting like a fencing around this one statue. They don't want anybody to mess with it. But why don't they just do that, Harry? Why don't they just put like guardrails or fences around these other monuments so nobody can deface them or mess them up? You know what I mean? Yeah,
I like that. Also, too, I would make it a really serious crime that you go to jail for a long time if you touch a federal monument. Right now, you're almost applauded for doing it. They put all this stuff on George Washington, all this stuff around George Washington's head and around his body and all this stuff. Make the penalties very severe. In a way, I don't like the idea of like barbed wire or any type of fence around because you're actually supposed to enjoy walking up very close. I enjoyed Arlington National Cemetery and being able to go up to different things and some of the other monuments. So if the answer is that we have to, it's like the White House used to be very approachable. Now there's barricades everywhere. I mean, we're going to lose our country if we have to build moats and walls and all this stuff around, our history. I'd prefer enforcement and punishment to be a deterrent.
And what were you saying last week about the Mirage? I thought that was a crown jewel of Vegas. You said that's going to go away now? Or?
Well, yeah, it's closing. I think in June. The date's in my article. It's going to be Hard Rock, and Joe Lupo, who used to be right here in town, he'll be running it.
Okay, so is Steve Wynn still own it, or what?
Oh no. Steve Wynn doesn't own it at all. Hard Rock does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was. I didn't understand. I thought he still owned the property.
No. He has Wynn Resorts, but the Mirage is Hard Rock.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well done. All right. Okay. I know you have other callers. I just
Thank you.
This point that
you got it. Good to talk to you. 609-407-1450, an open phone line on a busy news day on the Hurley in the Morning program. Welcome. You're on the air.
Yes. Good morning. The Ayatollah Khamenei was not behind the taking down of the helicopter with Ibrahim. He was on it.
Well, yeah, it's his guy.
Okay, well,
I mean, the butcher of Tehran is the Ayatollah's man. I mean, so no, they didn't do it. It went down in bad weather, is what I think.
Okay, well, we'll take that into account. That it was just bad weather, but
why? Well, think about this. You can always have enemies, so I don't know who they would be. Somebody from beneath, but I don't see any way that it came from above. Because he does everything that the Ayatollah wants. it was Rouhani that was more moderate, that had initially defeated Ibrahim Raisi back in 2017. So then Raisi comes back and wins in a very corrupt election in either 2020 or 2021. He does exactly the hardline approach, exactly as the Ayatollah would want. So it makes no sense to me that he would have tried to take him out. And Flash, your phone kicked out. It wasn't me. So yeah, I just try to be logical about these things. That just doesn't compute to me. It doesn't make any sense at all that would have come from above. It could always come from someone who wants the position, but even that I don't think is likely, and I'll tell you why. The son. So for 50 days, the vice president is going to be the acting president. But in 50 days, I almost will guarantee you, the son of Raisi will be the new president. At least that's the way that I think that it's developing. Flash, if you got back in, I didn't cut you off. You got knocked off. We'll come back to your calls. Whoever this is next. You'll be next. Hang in there. Joe Girallo is going to join us at 8:05. We'll interview Joe until the bottom of the hour at 8:35, and I've invited Joe to stay. We're going to have Curtis Bashaw, and we'll talk about his trip to the border, which I think was a really smart move. This portion of Early in the Morning brought to us by Batteries Plus in Northfield and Mount Laurel, New Jersey, and they're one of our WPG industry aces. If you have a car, truck, marine, RV, camper, golf cart, ATV, mobility scooter, motorcycle, I guess I could keep going. If you need a battery, they've got it. To get ready for the storm season, they have what you need. If you need LED, if you need emergency lighting, a portable generator, surge protectors, Batteries Plus has them all. If you have a broken phone or tablet screen, they can fix it. Cell phone battery needs replacement, I've done it. Why? And they do it right while you wait. Your watch, key fobs, they've got the batteries for that. Again, get a replacement while you wait. If it is broken, bring it in. They'll fix it. Right inside Batteries Plus. From cracked screens to battery replacements, the charge ports, speakers, microphones, pretty much anything inside a phone, they can fix it. Batteries Plus, and they fix it. 900 Tilton Road in Northfield and Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Stop into one of their locations and enter to win a pair of tickets to see Journey and Def Leppard. Back to your calls right after this. Much more on the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Ooh, we're hitting it real good here this morning. 30 minutes past the hour, right on the nose. 3 stories that you can follow on our WPG Talk Radio, 95.5 app. Atlantic City refuses on purpose to act. The state of New Jersey must, in terms of suspending the mayor's wife in Atlantic City. Great food, service, and atmosphere at this Atlantic City iconic restaurant. And New Jersey and Atlantic City could have...
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. An onshore breeze will probably make today the coolest day of the week, especially near that chilly ocean and bay water. I'll give you a high around 70. Inland areas will hit 70s today, and it'll be a nice weather day. Sunshine, passing clouds, and dry weather. A few clouds tonight, low temperature 56, mostly sunny and 78 tomorrow, 82 Wednesday. Next chance of rain is Thursday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey voters.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the Morning.
If you really want to know what's happening in Atlantic City, it's Harry Hurley every single morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Right back to your calls at 34 minutes past the hour. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I got to a discombobulated start anyway. I was juggling coffee.
That's okay. Let's no harm, no foul. Let's do it. Go.
Okay, now, if it wasn't from above, then God forbid if it was from below, because a lot of people in Iran do not like that government. A lot of the people.
Listen, there's no question. But remember, too, if it's somebody from below, who would have the ability, first of all, to even know where the helicopter was going? He was going to speak to other people over in Azerbaijan. So who would know that beneath him? Anybody? And I just try to look at things logically. If the Ayatollah likes him and he's exactly the butcher that he wants him to be, why would he do it? Now, there could be something going on that we don't know about. And it's not to say that no one beneath would have the ability to do something. But, sometimes just, mechanical things fail, and visibility, with helicopters. Like I never thought there was any plot to kill Kobe Bryant. It was a horrible convergence of bad stuff, including the weather. I think this just went down in bad weather.
Well, if it was weather modification, that would be the West. That would be Iran anyway. But I'm just putting that out there because I am a conspiracy tinfoil wearing kook anyway. So
I know, but it's not.
But anyway,
it's not always a conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, actually, in the 1950s, America was competing with Russia, the Soviet Union, and they wanted to beat the Soviets to the punch in weather, controlling the weather. They said whoever controls the weather by the turn of the century will actually have control over everything, basically. But of course, the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991. But still in all that technology wasn't buried. Now it was after Nikola Tesla, it's believed, that actually had invented weather modification. I don't know how he did it, but the guy's a brilliant guy. But they say they broke into his apartment in the late 1940s and stole all kind of documents that he had come up with and all kind of inventions he came up with. But I mean, it gets wild because just recently, just over the weekend too, over that helicopter crashed in northwest Iran and the Azerbaijan border, but also 3 ambassadors were arrested in the Congo Republic for trying to stage a coup against the government there. Now, just recently, or maybe just last year, Hunter Biden was a part of a group of people that sold a very expensive cobalt company to the CCP, and that's in the Republic of Congo. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on here, and it's greed, I'm telling you. It's greed, and I do not trust our Western government here. I do not trust them, and we need to pray for President Trump because these powers that be are dangerous. Thanks for letting me call in.
Thank you, Flash. Hey, listen, I agree. But I don't have any suspicion here that – and look, we'll wait and we'll see. But I think that, I saw photographs of – and I should say video of the visibility in the area and things like that. I think it was bad weather and that they went down. We'll wait to see. And it'll be tough anyhow because who knows what they would release. I'm surprised state media came out as quick as they did to even acknowledge that this happened. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Well, the equation is not adding up here. Billions in oil sales and a 27-year-old helicopter. Kind of doesn't make any sense with that one. I would probably have the state-of-the-art one if it was me.
That is a little strange when you put it that way.
Yeah, that's actually shocking.
Hey, did you know that Joe Biden is going to be putting back some of the oil that he took from our strategic petroleum reserves? Everything with him is political. He took it all to try to win the midterm elections. Now he's going to put some back, and I don't know how they get it for the price they get it for, but he said I think they're going to get it for like 78 cents a gallon. I mean, I wish I could buy in to that kind of, pricing. But so they're going to do some of that now. Everything that the trashing America, calling America racist, everything he's doing and everything we're going to see for the next 4 or 5 or so months is going to be so ugly, strategic, and political that it's going to be sickening.
Well, Harry, I would have to fact check that. I would go, it might be $78 a barrel at today's market, which is a little higher. He might get a short discount, but he's certainly not paying 78 cents a gallon.
I mean, it sounded crazy to me.
It is crazy. That's 400 million billion.
If you could get it for that, you should buy as much as you can buy.
And changing the tune here to bios, Donald Trump doesn't have to change his bio. Man, Joe Biden changes his every 5 minutes. The thing about meeting Jill, I mean, hopefully you on a national show you'll have that Mr. Stevenson on to tell the real story. And
but by the way, unless this is a typo, see, you got me thinking for a second, so I went back to my notes. Unless this is a typo, and it easily could be, but here we go. It says the oil is being bought at an average price. Oh, whoa. It says $79.38 a gallon. But of course, that's not true. That would be per barrel, and that is merely a typo.
Don't try it at home.
I know, don't try it at home is right. I looked at it as 79.38 cents because they said a gallon, but it does clearly say 79.38 a gallon. But they must mean per barrel.
Yes, especially with today's market where the oil is actually trading.
I know.
That would make a little sense. But the idea is he's doing it at a high rate no matter what, because with Trump it was $40. He was buying in the 40s.
And by the way, just to put a cap on this, the first part is a typo. I mean, it says per gallon, but later on it says the Biden administration said it wants to buy back oil at about $79.99 a barrel. And here on this one, they're going to get 3.3 million barrels at $79.38 a barrel, even though it says a gallon. We've tortured that and concur that it's 79.38 per barrel. But again, why now? Because this is such a negative, what he did, that he wants to make it look like he's on top of stuff. Yeah, we did that then, but it wasn't for the midterm elections, even though the calendar proves that, to be a lie. And now look what we're doing now. But again, it's not because of the election. It's because we're doing this now. They just lie about everything.
How about this, Harry? $1.3 billion for infrastructure, but $8 billion set aside for charging stations. You know how many charging stations came out of that $8 billion fund so
that
far?
Would be a flat out zero.
That is a zero.
Yeah.
And guess what? The new Green Deal is a zero.
Oh, yeah. Well, the new Green Deal is not a zero. It's a real negative because all the trillions that Biden has done and lied and call it infrastructure and all these different things, it's a big part of why inflation is the way that it is.
And the greenies should really be worrying about where you're going to bury the batteries when these cars go south.
Oh, it's so true. They don't have a plan. I mean, the disposing them will be such an issue. And we've seen the fires that you can't put out. They literally can't put the fires out. They just burns and burns and burns.
Harry, my final point, I'm going to make a final point on the NAACP. I think that the Trump campaign missed an opportunity. What I would have done on the local stations, I would have basically ran a loop on the debate where Kamala Harris basically accuses Joe Biden of a quasi-racist statement.
Well, she literally does it. It's not even like she literally calls him a racist.
Well, that should be out there right now. That should be out there. And the idea of Donald Trump being a racist, guess what? Jesse and Al celebrated with Donald Trump. They loved him. And when they were giving out the Ellis Island Awards, and he was standing between Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali, that wasn't Joe Biden. That was Donald J. Trump.
Oh, no, it's true. It's all right now Democrat politics. And so somebody that they always liked, they're not allowed to like him because of this, that, or the other. But the good news is, rank and file, Trump is doing very, very well. You can't expect him to do well. It's like with the United Auto Workers. You have that president stand up there and say, by a margin of more than 2-1, our members are supporting President Trump. And I'm here today to endorse Joe Biden for president. I mean, how sick are these people?
Yeah, I watched all the shows yesterday. Face the Nation. I force-fed myself to watch these shows. Boy. I watched George Stephanopoulos, the bimbo eruption fella, and the girl who tried to turn the debate around, and Welker, I guess. And guess what?
Kristen Welker.
This business about the debates, definitely don't have them until the convention. Make sure you have it after the convention. Donald Trump's got to change his mind.
You can't really change your mind now, though, because then you look like you're a chicken that you kept calling out for debates, and then you got challenged and you accepted immediately, and now you're not. I like some of the things he's doing on top of it all. He knows that Joe Biden got the networks that he wanted. He's going to get the moderators that he wants. They're all Trump haters. He figures they're going to help Joe Biden the most they can. They're going to come real hard at Trump. They'll try to help Biden. I mean, we know the deal here. But I like when Trump said Joe needs to be drug tested before the debate.
Yeah, the only thing missing from those three shows was Barack Obama dressed up in a tuxedo with a flower and the conductor's wand, basically telling them all what to say and what to do and pointing to the chair, a little solo for you, a little solo for you.
Yeah, understand, though, Joe Biden is not going to have a teleprompter. He's not going to have cue cards. He likely will know. Remember, Donna Brazile got busted last time. He'll likely know the questions in advance, but I don't think he can remember the questions in advance.
No, and not.
You could. I'm serious. You could tell him. I believe you could tell Joe Biden 5 minutes before the debate. Hey, Joe, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and here they are. Bam, 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 bam. He wouldn't be able to remember them. So they're not even going to be able to cheat this time. This is good they're debating. I believe it completely favors President Trump. What Trump has to avoid, though, he cannot be the Trump of the first debate of the 2020 campaign when he didn't let Biden speak. You got to let Biden speak. He got to win that debate. Biden, I'll even admit it, Biden won the first debate because Trump wouldn't let him speak. If Trump lets Biden speak, he can't lose.
You're right. He would have gotten into deep water, and that's where he would have been.
Yep.
He would have been.
Now, Trump has great stuff this time. Trump is going to say, remember, everybody, we were here 4 years ago, and you said that this stuff about your son was a lie, and you never took any money, and your family never took any money from these countries. Well, we all know you lied then. Then you had these 50 people lie for you, and then you had the social media. Anybody that put up the truth about you and your son, it got taken down. They got deplatformed and all that. We all know the truth now. You got caught. You lied. Trump can really open a can of you-know-what else, of you-know-what.
And if they want hard evidence, the hard evidence is the $143,000 Porsche and the diamond.
Well, and all the deposits into the accounts.
And
then all the wire transfers to even to the grandchildren. I mean, they got it all.
The Porsche is hard evidence. I mean, you could still drive it. And you probably sold it for whatever he needed to do. But being subsidized at $25,000 a month for all those months by his donor out there, and then the guy paying his taxes and all that stuff, that's not a real thing. I mean, if it was
Hey, you just reminded me. I've been meaning to share this now. The guy that was paying all of Hunter's bills, he's tapped out. Did you know that?
I heard he was on his way out.
Oh, he admitted he says he has no more to do with that. Here's another thing too. How do they allow that? And what are the IRS? What are the tax implications about all of that? I mean, it's so amazing how they let all this stuff go like this. But that guy has come out and said he is tapped out. He has no more money to fund Hunter Biden. So who's going to pay Abby Lowell now?
Yeah, I mean, the IRS has to learn that old casino question. When you don't think something is right, you have to go with that big 3-word question. Why?
Well, just remember in Bizarro World, President Trump will be holding a rally in the South Bronx of New York. They'll have at least 3,500 people, while Joe Biden can't even have an event of more than like a dozen handpicked people.
It's amazing. I saw a local magazine. They had they mentioned Trump on the cover, but when you went to the pictures, it showed about 12 or 13 people at the Wildwood rally. They had the short shots, instead of, unless I missed it in there, to show the big expanse of the crowd. That should have been on the front cover.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Dan, good to talk to you. Thank you.
Take care, brother.
See you, my friend. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, a little more open forum if you want to check in. First time we've had open phones this hour. The lines are open at 609-407-1450. Joe Girallo, one-on-one for the first half of the 8 o'clock hour. Curtis Bashaw joining us at 8:35 this morning. Joe will stay, and I believe we have Mayor Kane coming up for the 9 o'clock hour. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Mark Levin.
Now Donald Trump. What they're doing to Donald Trump, they're laughing at us all over the world. Our enemies are thrilled. They're laughing at us all over the world. It's sickening. And I'm telling you, come thick or thin, no matter what comes, hell or high water, this man must get reelected. That is, elected for his second term. It must happen.
Mark Levin on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're listening to Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township. I'm from Margate.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG.
Brigantine.
Pittman. Galloway.
Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It is 54 minutes past the hour. We're going to get 2 calls in. You're going to end the hour with me, so hang in there. And you are up right now. Go right ahead. Welcome to the Hurley in the Morning program. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
So you were having a discussion about the debate, but ever since I heard about the debate, I feel that he's going to have an earpiece in his ear, and they're going to feed him the answers, and he will then, to the best of his capabilities, which we know is limited, parrot back what somebody has just told him in his ear.
I know that's I know that's tempting to believe. I don't believe it, and I'll tell you why. He won't be able to. I wore an IFB for 25 years doing TV. You have to be trained to be able to have something in your ear talking to you and keep your thoughts straight at any level. Most people would just answer back. It would be exposed, even if it's so tiny, like the hearing aids of today that are so tiny that they go into the ear canal and you don't see them the way that you used to see the ones that would, stick out externally a bit. I'm going to say no to that because he does not have the mental acuity to handle an IFB. He would be exposed, and that would be the end. Now, they're going to have to send him in there and do what they usually do. He disappears for 3 to 5 days. They give him the magic, vitamins or whatever is going on because something goes on. And they're going to, I think, hope for the best that Jake Tapper and that other woman, Dana, whatever her name is, Dana Bash, whatever, and that, for ABC, that they'll take care of him. They figure it'll be 3-on-1, and they'll do the best that they can. I don't think
I absolutely agree
yeah.
that they will assist him, but I believe that they have been working on with him how to deal with this in his ear, because I think they're well aware of the fact that if he does get elected, God forbid, or even if he doesn't, to deal with what he has to deal with the next several months, he has to get acclimated.
I won't say IFB anymore to be too technical. Let me just call it an earpiece. If he's got something in his ear and he's listening to people tell him stuff, he will be talking to himself. Will you trust me on that? He cannot handle an earpiece. If he was sharp enough that he could do it. And if he was trained to just listen and take the information that's given and then speak, then that would be a viable alternative. He's a mess reading. He reads the word pause 4 more years. Pause. He's reading the words on a teleprompter. He would be reciting what they're saying in his ear. And I guarantee he would say, "What'd you just say? I didn't hear. What'd you say?" It's not, I'm telling you, you think that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen.
He can read it as he's speaking. Anyway, I'm sure there will be something hooked up. We shall see.
Okay, you're going to be wrong and I'm going to be right, but we'll reconvene. Have a great day. And I love the call. I'm telling you, he's not well enough to do what the gentlelady thinks. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. Jerry, EHT. Always listening. Haven't called in a while. I just have something I'd like to say. It really bothers me that the government is building electrical charging stations for these cars because the government has no money. It is taxpayer money that's doing that. When the car was first invented, the government didn't go out and build gas stations. I mean, I think this is totally insane. Because somebody should really make a point about that.
Let me add to that, and I wrote an article about it about a year ago. Electric cars are not new. We tried it before. The American people didn't want it 100 years ago. They don't want it now.
But this is a huge amount of money they're putting towards these charging stations that they're not even building. They're not even building it. It's going to be stolen. All this money is always stolen anyway. They got $24 billion in California for the homeless. Nobody knows where that went. Hey,
look, you got the money when de Blasio's wife was in charge of something. All that money is unaccounted for. Of course, they're Democrats. Everything they do is a mess.
These charging stations really bother me. It's really insane that...
Well, remember, if you're going to push this technology on the American people, then, of course, you've got to go all in. And right now, there's not enough of the charging stations where this is even feasible for anything other than if you're going a reasonable short distance. So they have to make it that you could actually utilize the technology.
I know, but the oil companies build the gas stations. They profit from that. The electric companies, if they want this so much, should build these charging stations, not the taxpayer.
Right, but keep in mind, this couldn't even be. This has to be propped up in order to exist. All the subsidies on the cars themselves. So then, of course, they're going to extend it to the charging stations because you have to have, we're going to do this, you got to have that. And then it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Jerry, let's talk again. Good to hear your voice. Joe Girallo joins us right after the break. Curtis Bashall right after the bottom of the hour. It is the Hurley in the Morning program, The Truth in Broadcasting, continues. Mayor Kane and Mrs. Kane, thank you for the Kane's custom cart at one of our 2 hole-in-ones for the June 20th Early in the Morning Charity Golf Open. We appreciate it. And
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. We are joined this half hour by our Atlantic County Clerk, Joe Girallo. Joe's going to stay for the full hour. We'll be joined after the bottom of the hour break by Curtis Bashall, United States Senate candidate for New Jersey, who just recently spent time at the border. I believe every candidate, every federal office holder should all have spent the time that Curtis Bashall has spent at the border, and then you can see exactly what's happening and why it's happening. Hey, Joe, you've been in the news because there's all kinds of stuff going on. A lot of it not of your doing at all. You're just playing the hand that you're dealt. You have a federal candidate, Andy Kim, who got to slow down, the wheels of motion in your space. You can always count on this knucklehead Suleiman, who doesn't say anything about the indicted mayor of Atlantic City or the superintendent, but has something to say about you, it seems.
Well, Harry, as being the gentleman that you say that I am,
yes.
I would just say that everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and opinion is what it is. It's not marred in facts. There were no facts behind all of that. Very clearly, the last 3 months have been the most trying time, in not just for me as the county clerk, but for all 21 county clerks.
And let me add just one thing, and I'll turn it right back to you, Joe. The time is going to be yours. For Mike Suleiman to criticize you when it's his candidate that slowed everything down and you still exceeded the deadline, for him to come out and say that you should have won by more, you should have exceeded by more, is preposterous.
You're correct, Harry, in the fact that I run a very, very transparent office. And there were many, many, many conversations with the chairman on both sides of the aisle from March when we went through the lawsuit, which was kind of, I'm going to use the word sprung on us at the last minute.
Yeah.
And we went through that and then not knowing. And then the public should understand when the lawsuit came out and we were told to do away with the line. And then we turned around and then a group of Republicans asked the judge for clarification on it. And the most confusing part to all the clerks and myself was when the judge came out and said, well, it's only unconstitutional for the Democratic line. The Republicans can keep their line.
Isn't this crazy?
I have never in my 62 years heard something.
I assumed it was going to apply to all.
Both parties. So then we go from there, and then we have other people take us back to court to want to go to court again to do away with the Republican line. And then that was upheld that Republicans were allowed to keep their line. So we went from this to that to the other, and quite honestly, we were until the Wednesday before the deadline to pull the trigger and have things in the mail by Friday/Saturday before we had an ability to get things done. We were proofing and doing, and I will say, very proud to say that we met every deadline, every statute in the state of New Jersey. And I will say this.
Yeah, Suleiman, who's listening right now, should have just said, hey, thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you for getting that done. It was my guy that compressed your whole schedule that you had to wait for, and you still got it done. But instead, he found a creepy way to criticize you.
Well, Harry, the truth will always come out. The truth is the word commence. Commence means to begin. It doesn't mean that we're going to mail every ballot at one time. Quite frankly, when the ballots leave the printer, they go to a third-party mail house, which the county does not have a contract with. That is through the printer. And we met the deadline. Bottom line, we met the deadline. And then to attack why the vote-by-mail ballots aren't on a website. Every candidate's name and email address by law is listed, okay, is listed on our website. And as of Friday, every sample ballot in this county is on our website. And I have to tell you my personal opinion, putting copies and putting vote-by-mail ballots on our website makes absolutely 0 sense, because if you're voting by mail, you're seeing that ballot in front of you. You don't need to see a sample of a vote-by-mail application.
Because you have your sample ballot.
You have it in your hand.
It's right there.
And I have to tell you, and I've said this over and over, we've done nothing but add to the confusion of voting. So now we have a vote-by-mail ballot that certainly looks quite a bit different than the sample I brought you, our sample ballot. So then why would I further confuse people, or why would our website further confuse the voter?
Right. And if you live in Ventnor, you have the Ventnor Commission ballots.
We just went through that.
So you have all that, just like you did last year with Margate. And here's one that I definitely want to cover, because Suleiman should have been all over this, but again, he's mute when it comes to anything that involves Democrats. Atlantic County Republican Party Chairman Don Purdy is demanding a criminal investigation into the Atlantic County Board of Elections and their handling of the primary election ballots. Let me read, and he's citing NJSA 1963-22, that ballots are not to be opened until 5 days before the election, which would be May 30th. Now, obviously, it's still only May 20th, and this was a number of days ago. Quote, why, this is Purdy, why is the Democrat-appointed Board of Elections clerk instructing employees to illegally open ballots before the statutory date? Question mark. Over 2,700 ballots were opened according to board staff, and this was at the direction of Democrat Chairman Mike Suleiman? Question mark. Is Suleiman attempting to manipulate the outcome of a specific race? Question mark, said Purdy. So, hey, Chairman Suleiman, how do you like being accused? But these guys really did do this with this 2,700 ballots. What's going to happen with that, Mr. Clerk?
That's unfortunately, Harry, not under my purview.
But that is bad news.
That will certainly take the integrity of any election going forward, and people are going to question the integrity of an election. And I will say that
what would be the purpose, if you just had to speculate, what would be the purpose of opening ballots earlier than you are allowed to by law?
Harry, your mind can go anywhere as to why that would happen. And you know, from 2020, unfortunately, a lot of people haven't had faith in elections, okay?
Yeah.
And this just further damages.
What should be done to that Democrat clerk?
Well, no matter if it was a Democrat or Republican clerk, the same punishment, so to speak,
yeah, I
should
said
be
Democrat
given out.
clerk because it is.
Yeah, it is. But
not because
no matter who it is, the same punishment should be given out. And we'll see. I'm not going to comment too much further. We'll see what the agencies do with this.
Who could mete out punishment? The Atlantic County Board of Elections, the two Republicans and two Democrats.
Correct.
When the two Democrats will probably vote not to, and the two Republicans would vote maybe to. Is that a tiebreaker situation where the clerk breaks?
No, that's not a tiebreaker situation.
So you'd have to go
clerk.
to a judge.
You'd have to go, I imagine, to a judge. I'm not schooled in that, but I would say to you that maybe, you know, the punishment will come from an outside agency. I don't know. This is new to me.
Yeah, let's get a break in. We'll come right back. One more segment with Joe. Then we're going to be joined at 8:35 by Curtis Bashaw. If you don't know, Curtis Bashaw went to the border and saw for himself what's going on. We're going to be talking about it. And Joe will be with us for the second half of the hour as well. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
Honesty and transparency, is not afraid to get down and dirty and really just tell me the truth.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and the WPG Talk Radio app. Hurley in the morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. We're back. It's 19 minutes past the hour. Curtis Bashaw joining us at 35 minutes past the hour. We're visiting this half hour with the man. I think I started it. I think I created. Did I create Gentleman Joe Girallo?
Yes, you did, Harry. You 100% did.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm used to being plagiarized, so I just never know anymore. But Don...
Often imitated, never duplicated.
Yes, except for Don P. Hurley. I was duplicated at the point of conception. A miraculous split took place because God said, hey, wow, this guy's pretty cool. I'm going to make two of him. So look at this. Don Hurley created the official Gentleman Joe Girallo logo.
Oh, my God.
It's handsome.
Oh, I can't thank him enough. That is fantastic.
See, he knows you're an elegant man. There's a beautiful bowler derby, a red tie, nice little enough of like the jacket outline, and then it says Gentleman Joe Girallo.
That is phenomenal.
I did send it to you.
Yes, thank you, Harry.
Don, good work.
Thank you. Excellent work.
So is anybody confused about all this? Because
Harry, to be very frank with you, our phone rings at the office all the time, and I'm always available for a phone call. And we have people walk in when they received their vote by mails. They came in and they said, "What is this? We don't understand this. Why did you do this?" So I've taken a lot of time to at night go around the county and speak to any group that is interested in having me. During the day, senior groups everywhere around this county to explain that what you're seeing here is different this year. First of all, this is the second year with the new ES&S machines. So that in itself is new to the voter. Now we change the ballot layout and the way things work. I will tell you that is this something that in my heart that I certainly love the design of it? Absolutely not.
No.
Is it something that I would have done on my own? Absolutely not. And I explained to people this was all, and that's why there is a box at the top of your sample ballot when you get it, and it says this is because of a federal ruling.
Yeah, it was smart. Now, Andy Kim, if he had a crystal ball, he never would have done what he did. But he thought that the line was going to be something that would be disadvantageous for him, and he just assumed, and he was incorrect, that Tammy Murphy would, roll him on getting line endorsements and therefore win because she would be the regular Democrat anywhere. Not all of the counties have the line, but many of them do. I mean, for example, Curtis has 16 out of 21. So Andy Kim outsmarted himself, and he won a victory, but he lost in a big way. I would think, and they should be, all Democrats should be furious with him. He has stolen their regular Democrat line, I guess, in perpetuity, unless this is overturned, by someone higher than this judge. And then I would also have to think.
Well, I'm going to stop you because the judge ruled that this setup was only for the June 4th primary this year, upon interpretation.
But I thought that was then answered that it's in perpetuity.
We haven't seen anything in a perpetuity yet.
So then, in other words, it's going to return to how it was next year?
Good question.
What a creepy decision that is. It's either right or you don't make it for just one election.
I'm not an attorney, but I would say to you that if the line was unconstitutional for Democrats.
But this was not just for the June primary. This is also for the November general election.
It may take place for the November general election, too. Clerks are waiting to see.
So then after this year, people are going to litigate again.
I think we're going to see litigation long before the general election ballot gets put together.
And do you think it's going to also involve Republicans at some point?
Yes. I think this is, I really do believe at the end of the day, the line will go away. That's just my belief. I think that people will push hard enough that the line will go away.
Big mistake.
We were the last, quote, state in the union to do this. Here's, I guess, my question. If it was okay for 85, 90 years, now all of a sudden it's wrong, it's unconstitutional. It's only unconstitutional for one party. It's not unconstitutional for the other. Then you say it's only for the June 4th primary. I have to say one thing.
By the way, that decision is completely psychotic.
If you sat in a courtroom as I did, Harry, I believe that all of the clerks, no matter what party you are, knew where we were going from the minute we walked in. And it's sad to say that because you would hope that before we put up arguments, 20 some different attorneys defending clerks, all the reasons why it wouldn't work, all the reasons why the time frame was too tight, all the reasons of what it's going to cost money.
Too bad? It was almost like too bad.
Well, the judge looked
get it done
at us and said it only takes a push of a button. Now, I brought you a copy of the sample ballot here this morning.
True.
It's blown up. It's not just push a button. And to me, it's confusion.
Hey, did any of your colleagues have a partisan hack like Suleiman come after them the way Suleiman came after you?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't either.
No. And I've been very transparent. And in all honesty, when people see this, and I'm very proud that, unfortunately, because Democratic County Committee is up, the ballot, as you can see, Harry, is extremely large.
It's busy.
And I had no room unless we changed all kind of layouts, all kind of printing things, the mailing, to do away with the Republican line. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It's something I had to do, because I'm going to say this loud and clear. The costs of the primary election go back to the municipality. I didn't feel as the clerk that it was right that I raise taxes upon people for a ballot. That's where the story really needs to be.
I mean, that judge's decision for Andy Kim drove the whole bus here.
Yes, it did. That's the bottom line. The whole bus was changed, because keep in mind, when you're putting things together, you have all your forms, you have all of the things that you do. The printer has everything set and ready to go. So there was redesigns of everything. And this all took place in a matter of less than a week and a half or 2 weeks.
And you had to wait for the decision to be made.
Whether the Republicans were going to have the line, not have the line, there were suits. I mean, there's still appeals and things. I mean, it just is crazy. It's been a crazy amount of time. And I have to say,
how could it possibly be unconstitutional for Democrats, but not unconstitutional for Republicans? What a mess.
That's the question that everyone looks at each other and says.
That's an incoherent decision.
Well, that's like saying, okay, people with brown eyes can ride on the front of the bus, but if you got green eyes, you're going to ride, in the back of the bus, and it's wrong. It's just plain wrong. And I think that we, as clerks, because I'm very close with all of the other clerks, felt that it was for both parties. And then when they came out and said, no, it was for one party, every day that we live this, the confusion got worse.
Yeah, but I mean, if they did it for all, that's one thing. But to do it for one and not for the other is really indefensible.
No, and, God help me, I was raised in a home with a mother that German-Irish that always said what was good for the goose was good for the gander. So it had to be equal, but this was not equal. And I will tell you that some clerks are having a difficult time. And let's not even talk about the programming of the machines and how that's going to look, that when you go in, if it's one ballot and another ballot. And it's hard enough, Harry, to get people to go vote, let alone confuse them. Okay? Let alone confuse them.
I mean, I would say, I'm looking at it right now, and you did the best you could with it. The Democrat ballot is confusing.
It is, and in all sincerity,
the Republican
Harry,
ballot is
because we don't have
not confusing at all.
We don't have county committee, and unfortunately, it had they not been on the ballot and it was not their year to run, it would have been a much different ballot. And the law is the law, and we've created what we've had to create, and we will continue to follow the law because that's our job. But it is confusing. As I said, I laugh because every time someone comes into the office with their ballot in their hand, they don't understand what they're getting. And in fact, Harry, they have the ballot in their hand. It's in front of them. And it's difficult for seniors that have voted a certain way their entire life to see something that's different. And, Andy Kim is in second or third position.
He should be very proud of himself.
Yeah, he's in second position.
For what he's done.
And the amount of calls that I've had, people wanting to know, well, he was endorsed by Atlantic County Democrats. Why isn't he in first position? Well, that's what happened when we went to a court case. Because I will tell you that the judge ruled that every single name had to be drawn.
Right, you had a drawing for that.
Every name had a draw, even county committee. Before it would be, okay, the way it was handed in was the way it went on the ballot, because most times there's not opposition. Well, whether there was opposition or not, the judge said every single name had to go in and be drawn. The drawing took close to 3.5, 4 hours.
Could you bracket or no?
We had no one in Atlantic County ask to bracket.
So there are all those names, even if people are running together and they didn't officially bracket.
They all ran as, Atlantic County Democratic Committee. That's a Carver Township, so there is no opposition.
Got it.
But bracketing is going to be another lawsuit, I imagine, down the line that, if there's 3 of us running for 3 seats, we're not going to be allowed to bracket. I don't know. We're all in uncharted territories here. I will tell you that I think that the county line is not coming back. That's my opinion.
Wow. That's a huge comment. We'll be right back. Curtis Bashaw joins the program next with Joe Girallo I am Hurley in the Morning.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
At 30 minutes past the hour, Harry Hurley, 3 stories that you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. The city of Atlantic City refuses to act, so the state of New Jersey must act regarding the mayor's wife. You can't have child abuse charges and not get suspended. It doesn't work that way. Great food, great service, great atmosphere at this Atlantic City restaurant. Read all about it. And New Jersey and Atlantic City could have been Hollywood.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. We've really turned the corner as of yesterday. Looking forward to a warmer, brighter, drier weather pattern taking hold this week. High temperature today around 70. An onshore breeze will keep the coast in the 60s. Look for sunshine with passing clouds and dry weather. A few clouds tonight with patchy fog possible, low of 56. Tomorrow gets even warmer, 78 with sunshine, 82 Wednesday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG 3-1. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. Knowing Curtis Bashaw for as many decades as I have, it did not surprise me that Curtis Bashaw popped up at our border. Because if you want to be a member of Congress, you can hear what's going on and all of that, and you can study it on paper, but there's nothing like actually going there and actually seeing how porous it is, what's actually going on. Joining the program now is Republican candidate for the United States Senate for New Jersey, Curtis Bashaw. Curtis, welcome back to Hurley in the Morning. How's things going?
Thank you so much, Harry. Things are going very well. We had a 40-hour trip on the ground in Arizona, in Yuma, and it was just an amazing experience to be there firsthand and see what's going on at the border and meet the folks on the ground.
What are your observations? Because we hear from Border Patrol agents, we hear from certain members that actually go there. For some reason, the Democrats don't go to the border because I guess they want to pretend like it's really not happening. But we know millions, but we just don't know how many millions. But we know many, many millions of people who shouldn't be here have been getting in, and in some cases they're actually really bad actors at the same time. We know the drug trade, the human trafficking, all of it that's going on, gang members that are getting in, all of it. Tell us what you saw.
Well, we saw it firsthand. I mean, there was a delegation of us, 5 congressional candidates and 2 Senate candidates, including our colleague in Pennsylvania, David McCormick. And we went out around midnight until 3 in the morning to a section of the border at Yuma, Arizona. And there were sections that were not finished after that infamous day 1 of the Biden administration. And while there, my colleague and I walked around, went around that opening in the border and heard voices. And sure enough, up a well-worn track came a group of 20, 30, 40 folks. We stood there as they walked by and around into a very orderly queue, almost like getting in line for Space Mountain at Disney World or something, it seemed. And but there were, of course, folks from South America, Ecuador, Venezuela, Peru. There were also folks from Syria. There were folks from China. Some were well-dressed, some were not. There were single men, young men. There were some families. It was really quite a diverse group, but it definitely, I just felt shocked to realize, you can't have a sovereign nation without a border.
No.
And at least at Yuma, we don't have one. And the absurdity of conflating immigration issues with border security, if you decouple those issues, having a secure border is not difficult.
No.
It's finishing the wall where you need it. It's making sure you have the technology available that exists, and it's having the personnel available.
And Curtis, is there any doubt in your mind, especially now having witnessed it personally? Now it's not some abstract theory, some construct that you read, in a position paper or through somebody else, their observation. Now that you've actually been there and seen it, my position from the beginning, and by the way, had you been at Eagle Pass, Texas, you would have saw the same thing. This is a plan. This is the Biden doctrine. This is on purpose, isn't it?
You can't come to any other conclusion. You can try to give the benefit of the doubt, but it just makes no sense, absent it being a policy and a strategy.
So reckless, so dangerous. And then we're left to actually confront. I mean, I saw a statistic. You take 4 years of Trump and 3.5 years of Joe Biden, and you have a 2,500 and some percent, 2,500 and some percent increase in terrorists that have gotten into our country. That is, we're talking about like 14 versus 300 and something. And 14 over 4 years is like a couple a year sneak in. That means you're trying real hard.
Harry,
you can't. Yeah, go ahead.
The entire country is now a border state.
That's right.
These folks are coming in every day, and they are flying to wherever they want to go in our country.
Yeah.
And they put people in schools that aren't part of the tax base. They're not paying for the schools. We went to the ER and the regional hospital down there and listened to the impact. That regional hospital has $26 million in unreimbursed expenses because of the migrants over the last couple of years. A little hospital. We went to the food pantry. We went to they started this organization to solve the problem themselves. They actually facilitate transport so that they don't stay in Yuma. And their point to us was, folks, this is coming your way. It's already there. Like, you can't just think, oh, this is our problem. They're passing through Yuma now. They've got themselves organized, and they're going all over the United States. And it's not only humanitarian. You can sense that some of these families coming in, you just don't know if they're actually related, because families get treated better than non-families at the border. They get expedited treatment. So, the whole subtext here of human trafficking, of the fentanyl, of people that are enemies of our state, embedding themselves in our country, all these things add up to a major national security threat over and above the humanitarian crisis. And it makes no sense. And since it clearly must be a policy, it just redoubles our need and commitment to winning this year. It's essential that we get out, take back the Senate seat in New Jersey, and we elect President Trump to the presidency. We have to be so firmly committed. This is a year of change, and we have to make it happen.
Curtis Bashaw, United States Senate candidate for New Jersey, with us on the Hurley in the Morning program. Joe Girallo was here as well. Joe, anything for the candidate?
No, I've been a Curtis supporter from day one, as I was the person that nominated him at the convention. I am so impressed by his knowledge and his whole life story. That's the type of people that we need in politics.
What's so great about Curtis Bashaw is everything he does well. So he wouldn't get into this.
He's a class act.
And halfway it. I mean, everything Curtis does, he does well. Business, this run. And really, when you think about it, I'm going to say this, Curtis, but you pick it back up from my comment. I see you running right now because of your background and what you know needs to be done in America. And you've chosen at what I believe is a critical tipping point to put your, hat in the arena, if you will, because really the future of our country is on the ballot. It's at stake. Your thoughts?
Oh, the heart and soul of our nation is at risk right now, and the values of our people are being stolen out from underneath us. I am a political outsider and a business person, and I, have lived by a budget and made a payroll, created jobs, and I think we need political outsiders and business people to go to Washington. This woke ideology that's permeated our society, that makes us do crazy stuff at the border, not support law enforcement, parents, schools keeping secrets from parents. This whole woke ideology has put us asleep to our core values. And I believe we are on the cusp of another great awakening, Harry.
Yeah.
We need the conservatives, the Americans are waking up to what's happening. And that's why I think this is a real year like 1980 when Ronald Reagan swept. It's a real year like 64 when Reagan gave his great speech. It's a time for choosing. We have a moment in time here to make a choice. This is a year we can flip New Jersey, and we are going to work like the Dickens to get that done.
Curtis, I mentioned that you always do your homework. So I know just Curtis Bashaw, successful businessman, Curtis Bashaw, a good American, a great American. You knew there was a problem at the border, whether it was Yuma, whether it's Eagle Pass, Texas. And like you said, every state is a border state with what's happening. And it's almost like an a la carte menu. They get here illegally. It's all planned. And they basically say, hey, where do you want to go? And they pick it right off of a menu. It's insanity. What was the difference between what you knew and thought you knew versus now that you've seen it yourself? Describe that if you can.
Oh, it's just visceral to hear the voices coming out of the brush, to see the wall standing there, to see the holes in the wall, and then the materials needed to complete it sitting in a pile because they were left there on that day one edict of President Biden, to see the eyes of these people. And, it's an amalgamation of folks, but it just shouldn't be happening. Prior to the Biden administration, the immigration was really 70, 80,000 people. And when I asked the folks in Yuma how many were true asylum seekers, they were like 5%, 10%. And that adds up to the fact that we're looking at 600, 700,000 people a year. So
you raised a very good point. You saw the materials. And for our listeners that never knew this before, President Trump merely ran out of time. The materials were procured, so the American people had purchased them. The contracts were awarded. The labor, the materials. I mean, I'm talking to a developer, somebody that builds things. It's mind-blowing that it was all there and it was all paid for, and that the Biden doctrine was to not finish it because of the woke agenda and what I believe is their plot towards the permanent Democrat majority, which was to bring in as many millions of people who don't lawfully belong here as they possibly could. You saw the materials. The only difference was Biden stopped it from being completed on purpose.
Yes, he did. And two absurdities. One is Mark Kelly, who's the Arizona senator, is the only Democrat that's actually been to the border. He's the only one that's been. And when the Border Patrol folks were showing him these other very, very small holes that were big problems, they said, fine, we'll close it up. But they wouldn't use the material that was there. They designed a new thing. It took them 18 months because they couldn't have it look like they were finishing the Trump wall. Right. That's an absurdity.
And the byproduct was it let more in, which is their goal. So they delay it for 18 months. And this is why I urge everyone, and Curtis, I want to give you a closing comment on this. Do not get fooled over the next weeks or few months where the Biden team, like you even hear Alejandro Mayorkas now, he answers certain questions intellectually honest that he used to obfuscate and flat out lie about, because they think for a couple of months they can trick us that, oh, look, it's just no difference. I mean, they're going to finish it. They're going to do it. They see there's a problem. No, they are the problem, Curtis.
Yeah, it can't be anything else. Two more observations.
Yes.
I've traveled internationally through the years, and, I was just watching these people walk around the corner of an unfinished wall into our country, into a queue. It was easier for them to come across that wall opening than it is to land as an international person at Newark or JFK or Philadelphia airports. It is an easier port of entry. And they didn't even get their shoes checked. It was like they all had a TSA clearance.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Clear or TSA pre. Yeah.
And that's sort of maybe a snarky comment, but the real comment was, I employ 1,000 people. We have a lot of first and second generation Americans that work for us in our hospitality business. And these people, some waited 6, 7 years. They went through a process legally to get their citizenship. And for even those that maybe aren't terrorists down there, but are just wealthy middle-class people from other countries, they're still cutting the line. And it's not fair. It is it's really a travesty, and it was eye-opening, and it just fires me up and reaffirms our decision to get involved in this race. We have to save our country. We have to take back our state. We have to win the Senate seat this fall. Vote for Curtis Bashaw on June 4th, please, in this primary so we can take on Andy Kim in November. And we have to elect President Trump and get rid of this reckless, weak Biden administration.
Curtis, in terms of the race, because obviously to win the general, you have to succeed and win the primary. I'm of the belief that when you win the Republican nomination, that you are going to be the next senator. I think it's teed up. I think that with the stain and the taint of Menendez, Andy Kim's going to be, bogged down with a lot of that. He's got a lot of people mad at him right now. He destroyed the ballot for his entire party up and down the ballot. Had he known how it was going to turn out, he probably, I won't even say probably, he never would have done what he did. He's got a lot of people mad at him there. So really winning this Republican nomination, Curtis, I mean, certainly for right now, I mean, it's the whole game right now.
It is the whole game. I honestly believe ours is the only campaign choice in the primary that can win in November. If we don't, if I don't win this primary, I don't think the Republicans can take back that seat. And that's because we've built a statewide campaign. Our main opponent skipped South Jersey.
I know.
Skipped the convention.
Terrible. Which is really Trump country and Bashaw country. It's a terrible strategy, which really tells me that she doesn't. I'm not going to say anything bad about her, except I'll just say what I believe in my heart, mind, and soul, and that is she doesn't have the funding to be a legitimate statewide candidate, and it's hard. This is 21 counties. This is 9 million people in the most densely populated state in the country. And, Curtis, you have shown that you're a prodigious fundraiser, that you're a great organizer in terms of you have put together a campaign that has won the support of 16 of 21 counties. I mean, I think it's really very apparent that you're the strongest candidate to be the nominee.
Well, Harry, it's an honor. It has been a process of meeting the thousands of duly elected Republican committee people who gave us their endorsement after we won on the merits. And the merits were going to each one of these conventions and telling our story, talking about our values, and that's why we won. And our opponent hasn't taken that path. He's focused on one or two things. And I just believe that the prize is there in November. We can win this seat if we elect the right candidate as our nominee. And I believe our campaign is the right one. And we're going to work hard these next 15 days to get people to the polls to make sure we win, because this opportunity in November is once in a generation. It's been 52 years, and it's time. It is time to take back this seat,
Curtis,
and our state.
Great to visit with you. We'll visit again. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, Harry. Thanks very much. Thanks, Joe.
All right. No problem. Good luck.
Take care, Curtis.
Bye-bye.
What about, and I got to get the break in real quick, but what about the candidates' elegance, competence? I mean, I believe Curtis Bashaw is a candidate from Central Casting.
Absolutely. If you really get to meet him, you feel like you've known him forever, and he's dead on with so many of his topics.
Yeah, he's smart. Hey, here's good news, and who knows what we're going to talk about. Mayor Kane, who will be back, I promise, in the near future. He left almost an hour early today. He's bringing vehicles. So it didn't happen. He's not going to be available for almost the entire hour. So it really makes no sense to do just a couple of minutes. We're going to reconvene next time. I've asked Joe if he'll stay with me, and Joe will co-host the 9 o'clock hour. And let's just talk about what we talk about. We'll talk about the clerk's office. We'll talk about anything else that comes up. You want to check in? You can call in at 609-407-1450. No pressure, but we'll keep the phone lines open as well. And we'll do a nice long-form interview with Joe coming up right after this. It is the Hurley in the Morning program, the truth in broadcasting.
Hurley in the Morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
That can easily recycle food waste into compost.
And we are back. This portion of the Hurley in the Morning program brought to us in part by Batteries Plus in Northfield, Mount Laurel, and they are one of our WPG industry aces. So if you have a car, a truck, marine, RV, camper, golf cart, ATV, mobility scooter, or motorcycle, and you need a battery, they've got it all set. For the storm season, if you need LED, emergency lighting, a portable generator, or surge protector, Batteries Plus has them all. Broken phone or tablet screen, they can fix it, and they'll fix it while you wait. Cell phone battery, if you need replacement. I've done it. They do it right when you wait, and they know how to break the seal, and they know how to put the seal back. They're terrific. Your watch batteries, key fob batteries, get it all replaced while you wait. They're at 900 Tilton Road in Northfield, Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Stop into one of their locations and enter to win a pair of tickets to see Journey and Def Leppard.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation.
Thank you.
Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Welcome back. It is Girallo and Hurley in the Morning on the job this hour. And remember, we have the 6 bonus minutes before kill meet, so we have a full hour. Let's take your calls first. So we've got 3 that we're going to go to right away, and you know in what order, because we already told you that you were first, you are second, you are third. Don't anybody quit. We won't quit on you. Then I want to give Joe an opportunity to talk about a couple of things that, that are going on, and then we'll see what we do. We'll take more calls after that. So 609-407-1450. Phone lines are open. Caller, welcome to the program. You're on the air. Thanks for calling in.
This is Rollo. This is Hurley. Good morning.
Morning.
Double question. And I'm not sure it happened in New Jersey, but they actually had cases where more people or more votes were taken than people existing.
Oh, yeah, it's happened. Yeah.
Which means even the dead people voted.
Well, there were, or whoever they have. Philadelphia had districts where more people voted than there were registered voters.
Yes.
So more than 100% turnout. That's fantastic.
Right. When the election closes at the end of the day, are the unused ballots frozen where they cannot be used under any circumstances?
When you say unused ballots.
Yeah, are you talking about provisional ballots that were at the polls, or are you talking about vote by mail that maybe were not voted upon?
Probably at the election or at the ballot box.
Well, remember, if you're at the ballot box, the only paper ballots would be provisional ballots, because I mean every state has different rules. But if you look at the way that we vote now, our machines, I think it's terrific how we're doing it. We're doing it by computer screen, Joe,
and they're all counted. They are all counted. That I can tell you. The provisionals are counted. That is done by the clerk's office in the whole package that goes out. They are counted. they have to be accounted for when they come back.
Right.
But they are froze at the end of that night. They go back into a bag with a Ziploc tie that is locked, and we would know. We're not us, meaning the clerk. Either the Board of Elections or superintendent would see that.
Let me also add: say you go to a polling place and you've already voted by mail. You can vote by provisional ballot, but only one of those votes is going to count.
Absolutely correct, Harry.
It's okay. We're going to be fine. There are some states that aren't fine and have some really bad things that are going on. We're not one of them. It's going to be really hard. My whole theory is make it easier to vote, harder to cheat.
Correct. And I have to say that here in Atlantic County, and I can only speak of Atlantic County, I truly feel it's very hard to cheat because you have three separate entities dealing with elections. You have the superintendent of elections, the board of elections, and the clerk's office. And certainly at the end of voting on election day, and we have a room where the ballots are, we are under lock and key and we are under camera. So those ballots at 8 o'clock that night, they are done.
But when those 2,700 ballots were being open weeks before they legally were allowed to be open, Mr. Clerk, that did not inspire confidence.
That certainly makes people wonder and to make sure that...
Like what's going on around
Correct.
And did my ballot count, or did some other ballot get slipped in? I
was certainly unaware of all of that. Harry.
Yeah. To the caller, thank you. Good call. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air with Joe and with yours truly, Hurley in the Morning. Hi there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Harry, thanks again, Harry, for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Look, I could talk to you guys about the insanity in my country for hours, but I just have one quick question. You talked about a judge that made insane decisions. Can you tell us who this judge is?
Yes, he's a federal court judge, and I won't screw up his name, but he's a federal court judge. It's a very well-known case, and I want to make a couple things really clear. Andy Kim took the clerks, and he sued us to federal court. So when this federal decision was rendered, it meant that the counties or the municipalities had to pay for this. Had he taken us to state court and this had been mandated, it would have been state mandate, state pay. So unfortunately, this decision comes back to you. It comes back to the taxpayers directly. And I know that Harry's Googling his name right now, but we certainly...
this is not...
I always botch it.
His name, I'm going to say, is... He's U.S. District Court Judge Zahid Qureshi.
That's right, Judge Qureshi.
Okay? And that is spelled Quraishi.
Yeah, we need to do more of this across the board, top to bottom, whether it be county, state, or national level. We need to who do I sound like?
But Jimmy, you do see why who wins these elections is really important. There's a federal judge that I guarantee you was probably appointed by Biden or Biden, and these elections matter so very much because that is a weird decision to make a decision that you're going to completely change the composition of the ballot, but only do it and make it unconstitutional for just one party it's really indefensible, Jimmy.
Well, that's the point I'm making. The fix is in everywhere. It's not just on a few places. It's everywhere. It's local school boards. It's everywhere. Listen, I don't want to insult anybody, but I'd like to know the history after you gave me his name. I'd like to know the history of this man in my country.
Okay. All right. We'll check it out. But you're right about what you said, though, because, for example, there's a superintendent in Atlantic City that should have no contact with children, that they are allowing to stay in the position despite having serious child abuse charges. There's nowhere in years gone by where that would even be possible. You would say, look, sorry, but you have contact with pupils, and staff, and you can't be here now. You got to resolve your problems, and then we'll talk after, disposition. Not now. Now they just ignore it, and then you look at the composition of the board, and it's all people that they control, that their spouses, their children. I mean, I don't talk about family members as a rule, but you have to in this case. Shea Steele Sr., his wife's a teacher. He's a fireman, fire inspector of sorts. His son, Shea Steele Jr., is now a fireman. I mean, this is all happening before our eyes, and Laquetta Small stays in there. And this is all the same kind of stuff, whether it's the ballot here or this kind of practice there. Yes, Jimmy, it's everywhere. It's everywhere that they gain power. And that's why I keep saying we have to win elections.
And I'll end, Jimmy, by saying that I spend 5 nights a week trying to educate the people in this county to come out and vote. Your vote matters.
Oh, yeah.
If we take a look at several elections, whether it's Atlantic City, whether it's Egg Harbor City, whether it's Corbin City, we see votes come to 3 or 4 votes at the end of the night.
I mean, Joe, you take New Jersey. President Trump has a fighter's chance to win New Jersey.
If we look at the latest polls, yes.
If he wins New Jersey, it's over. It's a landslide if he wins New Jersey. Jimmy, we've got to go to the break. Anything real quick before we go?
Yes, I'm going to say I'd love to hear your positive behavior, your positive thoughts, but I'm telling you, the fix is in everywhere.
Well, they're trying to fix. But remember, my theory, and it was in 2020 as well, yes, they've changed the rules, how we vote, the manner in which we vote, all of this. But if we win by enough, they can't cheat enough to win. There's no doubt they're trying. To be continued, Jimmy. Thank you. When we come back, I think Bob is going to join the program next. You will be next. You'll be right after that. Phone lines are open at 609-407-1450 at 15 minutes past the hour. It's Joe Girallo, the man I have nicknamed Gentleman Joe Girallo. Now there's a formal logo. We'll have to see if it passes, inspection. But Don Hurley has created a Gentleman Joe Girallo logo. I think I'm going to use it. We'll see if Joe will use it. But in any event,
it's already posted on Facebook.
There
Harry.
you go. Love it. We'll be back. Don't go away. So I named you Joe Girallo, and Don created the logo. There you go. The twins. We'll be back. Don't go away.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Egg Harbor Township. Ocean City. Goshen. Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the morning.
We need to just listen to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
And that is what we trade in. We trade in facts. It just confounds the other side, but that's how we work. 18 minutes past the hour. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning with Joe Girallo.
Hi, Harry, Joe. Look, I want to make a brief comment about Curtis Special, but really want to get to election integrity. So just Curtis by far, if you're interested in the Trump policies, the Trump agenda getting implemented, he by far of the Republican candidates for Senate, he by far is the one that will help President Trump and help Republicans win this thing in the fall. There is no other choice. But I want to talk really about election integrity here. And something that Catherine Engelbrecht discovered in U.S. Election Code Section 18. Now, Catherine Engelbrecht, she was the one that exposed the Dropbox fraud that we saw in the 2020 election. There was a movie she made with Dinesh D'Souza.
Yeah.
So in a recent podcast that I think I sent to you, Harry, the election code, there's a fine print in the U.S. election code that says non-citizens will not be penalized for voting if they believe that they are U.S. citizens. So it's a state of mind. It is not then a criminal penalty. Now, where this relates to is the vast illegal immigration that Joe Biden has allowed, with the purpose, of course, we wonder why all these non-skilled illegal immigrants are allowed to pour in the country, and we know the reason. It's to change the election results eventually. But the threat is now It's not years from now when they gain citizenship. When they cross the border, what do we hear them say? Thank you, Joe Biden. Yep. These are 100% Joe Biden voters, and the point here is that all the goodies these people are given, the Medicare, the food stamps, part of the application for Medicare and food stamps is voter registration, and you cannot. When they show up to vote, they've got a driver's license are now being issued to illegal aliens, and
that is so that they are on the voter rolls.
Correct. You cannot challenge them as an election official.
Right. The law is written, and Pennsylvania did it, and a few other places did it. This is why we have to pay such attention to how these things are being done. They're told they have to self-report. Well, what if they just go and vote? What do you mean they have to self-report? I've always said there'd be no reason, even if you said, look, we need the help, we need migrant farm workers, we need this skill set that Americans either won't do or not enough Americans will do, and so on and so forth. So if you want to have utility and have somebody have the ability to drive, then they should get a license that's completely different than an American license. But of course, the Democrats on purpose don't want to do that. It should face the other way. It should be completely different. But they don't want it to be that way, Bob.
So this should be the number one priority of Republican legislatures, of Republican officials. Yet,
well, it was the Democrats' number one priority, and it's why Joe Biden is the president right now. They changed the way they vote in Pennsylvania, for example, even though the Constitution of Pennsylvania stated that the legislature would have had to do it, they did it on their own anyhow.
So Harry, Senator Mike Lee has legislation in the Senate now to address this. It's called the SAVE Act. Okay, but it's not going to go anywhere, and it's not going to go anywhere, and not just because of the Democrats. You know that it'll never pass the Senate, but there is too much silence from the Republican establishment. This, I'm afraid that we may have.
Well, they're actually afraid to be called some kind of names they're not, even to get criminally charged. Democrats now criminally charge you if you don't agree with them. I mean, there's a member of Congress right now that's being charged in a wacky way that is absolutely just bizarre. I don't have time to even get into it. He was exonerated by an appeals court. They set him up and charged him again. I mean, these are really dangerous times, and even people in Congress are afraid to touch some of this stuff.
Harry, our very, you talk about democracy and a threat to democracy. We shouldn't be allowing non-citizens to decide who our leaders are, and that's what's happening now.
Well, look, in many ways they have for the longest time because persons have been in the census, and that was a big mistake. How you can let someone that's illegally here affect how many congressmen California gets or this state or that state. And then I could not agree with you more, Bob. Now you see that, well, just in school board elections. Well, not just school board mayor and, city council races. Just school board, city council, and county races. And then state. And then next thing you know, bammo, voting in federal elections. That's the game. That's what they're doing.
Well, look, Harry, November, May, there may be not an October surprise. My fear really is a November surprise, meaning all these polls are looking great for President Trump. They're looking pretty good for Republicans. That may not happen.
Well, hey, look, so did the midterm polls.
Excuse me, Harry?
So did the midterm election polls.
Mm-hmm. Well, of course. Well, yeah, the Democrats use the abortion issue.
And they're doing it again. And I did a monologue when I was working for Fox News on Friday, and I said we have to really keep an eye out for this because they're strategically putting abortion issues on the ballot in all the key battleground states. So that really matters.
Well, look, the Democrats are not panicking. They have a president, right? Their nominee is going to be Joe Biden, apparently. he's mentally incompetent.
Right.
Look, there's no question.
By the way, that's not Bob saying it. That's another Bob. That's Robert Herr said he's incompetent. He's incompetent to be a defendant. How could he be competent enough to be president or reelected as president? Here's my take on this, and we'll see what you say, Bob, and we'll see what Joe says about this. Republicans are busy trying to earn votes. Democrats create ballots.
Correct. 100% correct. And you know, there are organizations on the Republican side, like Charlie Kirk's Turning Point Action. We need to support the grassroots, get out the vote campaigns. That's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, we need our version of what Zuckerberg did for the Democrats in the last election. It was probably the difference in the election. If you're talking about 80,000 votes over 3 or 4 states, I mean, my God, what Zuckerberg did, 100 million or whatever it was, and you've got Soros with the projects that he has had at the state level with boards of elections, boards of canvassers, and all these things. We've got to get on the ball. And what I've been begging for a decade is we can't lose the election before Election Day. We've got to pay attention to ballot harvesting, to the vote by mail, to the early voting. And I'll tell you what, and Joe, you can back me up on this. When I saw Republicans won the early voting in Atlantic County, I knew it was over.
Well, you're correct, Harry. And I always say don't get so comfortable with the polls.
Yeah.
Because don't win the poll and lose the election.
Don't
win the poll and lose the election.
Because they're about gathering ballots.
That's correct. And that's a proven fact. That's not something that I'm making up.
Yeah.
I mean, Democratic Party has been very instrumental with vote by mail, which is fine. And they
early voting.
And early voting. They believed early on that they would win early voting the same way.
And then they could lose Election Day, but they already would have piled up a big enough lead.
Said it.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, now if we look at early voting, which, by the way, for the primary is 5 days. It starts next Wednesday. Early voting, 7 locations throughout Atlantic County. I think turnout will be
and you can vote in any one of those locations.
Places for your municipality. I preach early voting everywhere I go because I do believe in it. Okay, yeah. It's something I absolutely believe in.
And you got to offset what the other side's doing.
Correct. You have to come out. But last year, if we take a look at last year, it was very upsetting to me personally. Early voting. You had 4,995 people. Less than 2% of the registered voters took advantage of
Terrible.
it. Now I'm going to throw you another statistic, something that, because you know I'm very, very conservative with money. I have no problem with people that want to vote by mail. I have no problem that people want to vote early. I'd have no problem with people that want to vote on Election Day. But however you choose to vote. I want to say that, people talk about when the election's over a little bit. And, geez, it takes so long to see who won or who lost. 70% of the provisional ballots cast in the last 2 general elections, 70% of those votes people had received a vote-by-mail application and had chose not to vote the vote-by-mail, but go vote. Okay? I don't like to see the money wasted.
Yeah.
I don't like to see ballots just floating around out there because we've had that discussion. So, we've done many things over the years. Early voting, vote-by-mail, same-day election. And we're not seeing any greater of a turnout at the end of the day. You're not seeing that. This year we'll see it as a presidential year. That's why you have 5 days of early voting starting
for the
next
general.
Wednesday.
Is it 11 days?
9 days.
9 days.
9 days.
That's a lot.
It's a very long time, and I do believe in discussions that I've been a part of, they're going to, and us included, we'll be having discussions to see where the length of time goes with early voting. And I can tell you what I hear from most folks, it would be great Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That's what I think.
Early voting.
And then you can vote again on Tuesday. You got all these chances.
Correct. If you take a look, and I don't want to bore people with statistics, 7 voting stations in the last general election. We averaged 7 voters an hour.
It's terrible.
Okay, sad. 7 voters an hour.
There's
a lot of money. There's a lot of money that is spent And you know, there's 6 workers sitting there in the polls, early voting, 6 workers, and you only had 7 come in an hour. Yeah. Break it out.
It's like a la carte, one-on-one service.
One-on-one service. And believe me, I want people to vote. I preach. I don't care how you vote. I want you to vote.
Bob, closing comment.
Well, Harry, I like the Florida model, and there's early voting in Florida. There's almost 2 weeks. It's more like 10 days, but it's very, very, very secure.
And they count everything on time, and we know that night who won. It's fantastic.
And you know, there are a lot of people that do that. Okay, you don't have 7 people an hour. You have to wait a few minutes to vote.
Yeah, I believe, Bob, Florida is the model. The debacle of 2000, Florida fixed their election problems, and they're a model that the whole country could follow.
Bob, and we still had some corrupt officials that the great Governor Ron DeSantis got rid of immediately upon taking office. You know, Palm Beach County, I think Broward County. We still had corrupt people there that were, you know, but the governor got rid of them quickly.
Yep.
So,
Bob, I do believe it's education. I do believe it's education and educating people that early voting is safe and secure.
Yeah. Good to talk to you, Bob.
Education.
All right, take care.
Thank you. We're coming right back to your calls in just a little bit. Please don't go away. You will be next in just a few minutes, and you'll be right after that. Don't go away on the phone lines. Then what I want to do after these 2 calls, you can call in, and we'll get more calls in towards the end. I want to give Joe an opportunity to talk about a few things that I think could be very instructive for all of us to listen to. We'll be back. Joe Girallo on the Hurley in the Morning program. And you.
In a world full of fake news, AI, and unverified information on social media, where can you get the latest, most accurate South Jersey news? WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app. Don't wait for the newspaper to come in the mail. The WPG Talk Radio app is updated around the clock from New Jersey's largest radio news team. Accurate, dependable, reliable. When you need to know, it's WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Billy.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. For complete contest rules, visit WPGTalkRadio.com. Hurley in the Morning.
Harry Hurley is the only person on the radio who isn't afraid to speak the truth about what's really happening in Atlantic City.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Welcome back. 37 minutes past the hour, visiting with Joe Girallo, our Atlanta County clerk, and you on the phone lines at 609-407-1450. Welcome to the program. You're on the air. Hi there.
Well, great show this morning, Harry, and good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Thank you.
And I'd like to say happy birthday, wait to hear this one, to Nate Nathanson.
Oh, my goodness.
Up in heaven.
Yeah, what a good man.
There's a guy that actually, for those that remember him, he's actually the guy that actually interests me in starting to call you Harry.
There you go.
So,
yeah,
and,
good man.
And also, I'll send my wishes off to Matt, who was an early caller on your show. Yeah. Hi, boss.
My former employee. Yeah, he left way too soon.
Way too soon. So with that being said, helicopter crash there. That helicopter crash with the president of Iran.
President of Iran, foreign minister, provincial governor, and others.
And murderer.
The Ibrahim Raisi, known as the Butcher of Tehran. I mean, a horrifically bad man. But I don't think anybody took him down. I think they just had a crash in very bad inclement weather in 27-year-old equipment. Why is a country that Joe Biden gave billions of dollars to, why are they flying 27-year-old helicopters with their president? I don't even understand that.
Thank God. Anyway, I did say that.
I know you did.
Okay. Hamas, coming to central United States to live as refugees?
Sure. Joe Biden doctrine.
Yes, sir. And then I would like to talk about Donnie Trump for a couple seconds and Curtis Bashaw. And I know that Donald Trump did actually support somebody else, and it's one of the few times that I disagree with Donald J. Trump.
It was all. I was there. It was pretty lukewarm. It wasn't anything tremendous, and Curtis is undeniably the better candidate.
Absolutely, Terry. And I like to discuss the other candidate would be supporting the teachers union because that's where he's getting his money from mostly.
Well, the top contender is a female by the name of Glazer. It's either going to be Glazer or Curtis, and it shouldn't be Glazer. I have nothing against Glazer, but Curtis is a better fundraiser. Curtis has a better command of the issues. Curtis is better for President Trump, actually being beneath him on the ballot. He's just a better candidate.
You know, I got to meet Curtis. You know what? Unsuspectingly, okay, at his bar, okay, and no, he wasn't drinking. And Harry, you were having your event, and I got to spend about 20 minutes with the man, and I got to find out how intelligent he is, and about world history and architecture. And usually people that love the country's architecture also loves our history and where we came from, and Curtis absolutely demonstrated that.
Yeah.
But also, what he demonstrates is that he can take on a dilapidated hotel that nobody wanted to touch and rebuild it.
Correct.
So he has an idea for a budget, which you know me, Harry. I love that.
Yeah.
My people in my town, Northfield, know I love that, and sometimes my politicians there don't like that. But with that being said, you know, Curtis has a grasp on our immigration, and let me just say this to you. We need Curtis and we need Van Drew down here so we can build our airport, and Curtis will help us do that. So we could take our second-rate airport here and actually make it first-rate, and I think with some new jets. You understand what I'm saying here, Harry?
Yeah.
Because then we would finally have somebody that cares about South Jersey instead of worrying about sewing dollar bills in their suit jacket and gold bricks in their basement. Did I say that? I'm sorry.
Craig, that's all right. Appreciate the sentiment.
Okay, and then so I just want to say with the debate with Donald J. Trump and which you were discussing earlier, and Joe Biden with the earpiece, I think this is set up for Joe Biden to fail.
He's not going to have an earpiece.
Okay, and like you said, if he does have the earpiece, he'll be all jumbled up.
He'll be answering out loud.
Yeah. And if that happens, Harry, you'll be buying me breakfast. I'm going to list my mic drop here.
It'll be my pleasure to do
over
that.
at Gary's.
Okay.
And it will be Michelle who will take her place, and I'll be walking out with a beautiful dessert.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Let's take one more call, and then we'll get our final break in, and then we're going to spend the rest of the hour one-on-one with our Atlantic County Clerk, Joe Girallo. Welcome to the program. You're on the air.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Girallo, how do they treat walk-ins?
Walk-in where? In the polls?
The ballot. To the polls.
Okay. If you walk in and you are not, let's say you're not a registered voter, let's say you're in the wrong place on election day, so on and so forth, you will be given a provisional ballot. You will vote that ballot.
But if you're not a registered voter, you will not
be given a provisional ballot.
So when you say walk-in, I want to make sure
I'm not clear.
Your walk-in, you cannot be a walk-in. You have to be a registered voter.
Correct.
I don't know if that's going to be true in this election.
No, it has to be true.
No, it has to be true. There is a bill.
12 million people that have been dropped into this country. And if somebody...
No. But there's a difference, though. If an illegal votes, it's because they were put on the voter rolls. So they shouldn't be on it, but they would be a registered voter, at least on paper. But when you say walk-ins, there's not somebody that's just going to walk in. Hey, I'm not registered, but I want to vote here today.
Correct.
Go ahead, Joe.
First of all, Harry, we don't have currently in New Jersey same-day registration. There is a bill pending in Trenton to take a look at that.
That would be terrible.
That would be absolutely. I am absolutely opposed to same-day registration. Yeah. It would be a nightmare for the election office.
That's how you get illegals and people that shouldn't.
So if you're not registered to vote, you won't be able to vote, okay, because we do not have same-day registration. It is becoming a thing. I'm going to use the word a thing. Some people want to see same-day registration. I personally don't think that we should have same-day registration.
But let's give the gentleman caller this, though. Say I live at a condominium
and you moved
in Atlantic City, the Warwick, and I just pop into Green Tree Church and I want to vote, but I'm not in the books, but I am a registered voter in Atlantic County, I can get a provisional ballot.
They will give you a provisional ballot. You can vote the provisional ballot. And that is all sorted out after the election by the superintendent of elections office. And they do a phenomenal job. That's to not make sure that you didn't go to 20 polling places and pull this. They make sure that they make sure that you really were a registered voter. They make sure that you everything is in order before. There's a lot that goes into the process before a provisional ballot.
And as long as you are a registered voter in Atlantic County, that ballot, wherever you casted that provisional, will count.
Will count, yes.
So, so there you go, sir. And no walk-up service for someone that's not registered. I just want you to feel comfortable. There's a lot of bad stuff going on, but you don't. That's not one of them.
Yeah, and
thank you.
I always try to educate people. There's a lot of bills pending. There are a lot of bills pending in Trenton. Some actually happen. A lot of them don't.
Exactly.
Election. I'm going to use the word election rules, statutes, regulations change every year. They change mid-year. There's always something going to develop to keep an eye on all of this and to keep elections safe and secure.
And fair.
45
minutes past the hour, going away for just a little over 2 minutes. So short break. Then we're uninterrupted until Brian Kilmeade one-on-one with Atlantic County Clerk Joe Girallo coming up next on the Hurley in the Morning program.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
I'm looking for trustworthy news.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You know, since 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been committed to supporting our nation's first responders and veterans. They support America's heroes like U.S. Army Major Jonathan Turnbull. Now, Major Turnbull sustained devastating injuries at the hands of an ISIS suicide bomber. Tunnel to Towers gave him a specially adapted smart home designed for his needs. Join Tunnel to Towers. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month so this great work continues. Their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
Hurley in the Morning.
They always have great conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. We continue at 48 minutes past the hour. Joe Girallo, Atlantic County Clerk. What's on your mind?
Harry, I want to talk about a couple things. First of all, early voting. I've said it earlier, begins next Wednesday because this is a presidential year. We have 5 days of early voting, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 7 locations throughout Atlantic County, Hamilton, Buena Vista, and then we have Mays Landing, Galloway, Atlantic City, and I call it Egg Harbor Township. And I tell people, take advantage of it. Go out, early voting, important. Also, if you've received a vote by mail in the mail, you have time to return it. There are drop boxes throughout every municipality in the county, and one at Stockton and one at Community College. So I'd ask, if you got a vote by mail ballot, please return it.
Joe, is it still, if you request a vote by mail ballot, you are now vote by mail forever until you opt out?
No, that's not. There are 2 boxes. You can say for all future, or you can say just one election, primary, general.
So if you do all future, you're always going to get it, but you can opt out.
You absolutely. The opt-out form is on our website, atlanticcountyclerk.org. And I do tell people, sometimes they check the wrong box and they don't understand how that happened. If you want to, opt out. If you want to go vote in the polls, keep in mind, we have people call the office right now. I received my vote by mail, but I really want to go vote. Once you receive your vote by mail ballot, you've received it for that election cycle. If you want to opt out for the next cycle, keep in mind, just because
So there you could go vote by provisional.
You could go vote provisional and not use that. I don't like to recommend that,
Yeah, I don't
but
either.
it is what it is. The bottom line is, if you get it and you want to opt out, certainly call the clerk's office. We can send you the form if you don't have a way to print it off of our website. It's important that you do so. You can't, how should I say this? The state has a cutoff as to when we cut off to be able to do the vote by mails and the labels. We're looking at 20 days, prior to. So if you want to opt out, I'm going to say to you right now, you need to opt out of the general. If you choose that, you better do it by the third week of August to make sure that you're going to opt out, if that's how you choose to do that. Keep in mind, November election, the polls will be open, and I'll be back to talk about that 9 days prior to. Vote by mails will be out by mid-September for November. Keep in mind, end of July, school board candidates, anybody wishing to seek the office of school board candidates, same thing in Longport. We heard on the news that Mayor Russo's not seeking another term. There are 3 commission seats that are up in Longport. That is a nonpartisan November election. So that is different than Margate and Ventnor, because we just finished with Ventnor's election. So we have the Longport nonpartisan election, which will be
Did
on
Longport
about,
used to also be in May?
Yes.
Yeah, I
yes.
thought so.
And they moved to save the election fees and to do all of that, because if you're on the ballot in November, it gets thrown in with everyone.
Yeah, I think the reason they did it is because Nick Russo was very Democrat, and he wanted to be on the November ballot and not in a zombie May election ballot. That's my opinion.
It may be, but dollars and cents.
Yeah.
We just finished with Ventnor's, and as you've heard me say many times,
but people that want to run when they want to run, they don't care about that.
No, you can run anytime you.
If it was more expensive, they would still do it.
Correct. I mean, we've seen the lawsuits with the rearranging of the ballots, and this will cost us all at the end of the day, unfortunately. And
how much would you say Andy Kim cost? I mean, you could look at that any way you want. I mean, statewide, there's a cost, of course, but what he did is expensive.
Here in Atlantic County, not even counting our time, which
was exorbitant.
Was an exorbitant amount of time, reading everything, following everything, gathering information, getting it to our attorneys, took time. We did join in with 5 other counties, and so that cut our legal fees. We were represented by Jack Carbone, one of the best in the
nickname
state.
Crafty.
Crafty, yes.
Earned, by the way.
Earned.
Yeah, I like Jack.
Our legal bills, our share of the legal bills were that I've seen the bills so far, somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $12,000 just for the legal representation.
Terrible.
Now then, we had to go to I haven't seen the printer bills yet, because keep in mind, you had to recreate what is in front of us here, Harry. So you need it. I'm going to use the word dies. It's probably wrong, but everything had to be recreated. Mm-hmm. This all took time. I will tell you that we had an estimate early on of close to $20,000 just to redo what you're seeing here.
Shame.
So, and had I chosen to spend the more money for the postage, meaning a heavier sample ballot, a larger sample ballot, more paper, because keep in mind, yes, indeed, sample ballots will be out very shortly. We finished proofing them last Thursday. Every ballot face is on my website, atlanticcountyclerk.org. You can go on and view what you will see when you go actually in the poll. And as soon as the Board of Elections certifies the 151 polling places around the county, we will be able to match you up with your...
Do you see the time come, and I could see it coming sooner rather than later, where you don't even have to mail out sample ballots because everybody has a digital device, it seems, and you could see that on demand It's also, of course, it's displayed at the polling places itself for inspection. Do you see a day where there's no need for that? I do.
Well, Harry, I have to tell you that if you sat down and you studied the whole election process, with our new machines, you can vote provisionally on the machine, and that can be pulled aside. You can vote. So we're getting to the point where I think we become less and less paper.
Yeah, you don't need it.
But you really don't need it. And I have to tell you, it's a great expense because we mail out, just so everyone understands, 200,000 sample ballots. The only people that won't get a sample ballot will be those that receive the vote by mail. Those are extracted out.
How much would 200,000 sample paper ballots and the postage, what does that cost?
It's a great cost because, first of all, it's on a thicker paper.
Yeah.
Okay. I keep jumping around. Had we stayed the way we stayed, out of the one sheet of paper, they get 4 sample ballots. Had I redesigned it to leave the line for the GOP side, we would have gotten 2.
Half as much.
So then the weight of the paper, we didn't even go to see what that postage would be. Okay. You're looking at several $100,000.
That's what I thought.
And I'm not.
It's pretty unnecessary.
And
actually.
I have to be honest. I hear this from people all the time, and it makes sense. There's 4 voters in my home. My 2 daughters, my wife, and myself.
You get 4 of them.
And we get 4 of them. People say I only need 1. I'm in agreement with that. Until we can get legislation.
You could do a Girallo family.
Family, right. Just the same way when you run your campaign, you do the Girallo household.
Yeah.
And it would kind of make sense with your sample ballot because you really don't.
Not everybody needs one.
And then also we have it on our website. People put it on Facebook. Candidates get out there and advertise and show all of this all the time. So I am of the believer that, to me, Harry, I would rather spend the less money.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, when we were looking at leaving the line and mailing out the 200,000 sample ballots, we were going to go from 50,000 sheets of paper to 100,000 sheets of paper. I realize that doesn't sound like a lot, but then when we're talking weight at the post office and that postage goes up, it gets quite expensive. So that's where I am with that, and I really believe in the fact that by the time the sample ballot comes out, if you've done your job as a candidate, people know who's running. And I understand what a sample ballot does.
And when you decide, hey, I'm going to go vote, you could go right to AtlantaCountyClerk.org.
Correct.
And you could see your sample ballot, or you could go right to the polling place and see the sample ballot.
And in all honesty, since all the candidates were filed, all of those names have been on our website for nearly
probably the only reason
2 months.
Something like that, wouldn't happen would be you'd have some, just mudraker like Suleiman. They don't want to send ballots out. This is what they're doing. They don't want you to know. That's the only, I won't even call it a downside. That's the only mischief that would even be. Who else would be again? Oh, no, I got to have that. I like it. I like to look at it. But if I didn't get that, I wouldn't skip a beat.
I can tell you, Harry, that in my own home, only one ever gets opened up. The others just sit on the counter.
Unopened. With the piece of tape. That
right.
is
Correct.
over both sides.
So how many people, get them and throw them away? And I will say, in all honesty, I do see a lot of people come to polls on Election Day that they've marked them. And that's wonderful. And that should speed the process.
But you can also have it in your phone.
Absolutely, you can have it in your phone. But I'm going to encourage, and I'm beginning to encourage people from now, take early voting seriously. Go out and try it in the primary if you have time. Try it.
Joe, I want to bring up something. We have 6 minutes left before Kilmeade, and this never gets talked about. And I don't know that, we do see people getting charged, like Scotty Scheffler got charged. I think all those Kentucky charges are going to be dropped. But you never know anymore. It's like they're going after people. So it is illegal in the state of New Jersey. It's not illegal to take a picture of your own ballot from the screen, but it would be illegal for you to put that on social media.
Yes.
And people do that.
Yes.
I see it.
Yes.
So that is actually committing a crime.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it should be a crime. Your own ballot should be able to be posted. I mean, you could put who you voted for. So I don't agree with it, but I want to bring that up and have you comment on the fact that somebody could jam themselves up and not even realize it.
Yeah, it's probably very bright not to take a picture of who you voted for in a poll and go posting it, because not legal.
Right.
Not legal.
But it is not illegal to take the picture. It's illegal to publish
the picture. So when you publish it, it creates the problem.
Why?
That I don't have the answer for that, Harry.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, why do they care? If you want to reveal who you voted for,
right,
and they're just all lit up, and there's nothing. I never understood the law, and it is not the law in every state, by the way.
Correct. Yes.
But I'm glad we talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it never gets talked about.
No, it doesn't.
And people wouldn't realize
you're actually
you commit a crime you didn't even know
committing a crime. Okay. I had someone just text me, yes, the ballot box is in front of the county clerk's office in center of the building. Most municipalities have at their city hall, there will be a list of where the ballot boxes are on the Board of Elections website. They are safe and secure. I will tell you that those ballots are picked up by a Democrat and Republican.
Let me remind people that last election, and it was not a large number of ballots, but people did drop off ballots into the Atlantic County mailbox instead of the actual drop box. So those ballots, Joe, actually wound up in the hands of the Atlantic County office folks, and then they called the right people in to take custody of it all. So just make sure
that you are dropping your ballot in a vote by mail box.
Yes.
Okay. No stamp is required. I always get that question. No stamp is required. All of those boxes are monitored by cameras, so things are safe and secure. And I'm going to start now for November. Early voting, 9 days. Presidential election. Biggest turnout that we see in this country every 4 years. If you don't want to wait in line, do the early voting. Take and think about it. Start to think about it from now. 9 days prior to the general election, you can go and you can cast your vote and not wait in line on election day for a half hour or whatever.
Then you make sure you voted, and because what can happen, it does happen to people, their election day doesn't go the way they thought it would.
Correct.
And then if you hadn't voted by then, you're now not going to vote.
Correct.
So it is a good idea. You vote when you can. And make sure you vote.
Let's be honest. I would say that 99% of the people know who they're going to vote for.
Yeah.
When they see it early on, they don't decide on election day who they're going to vote for. That's my opinion. You just aren't going to wait until election day to decide. There aren't that many undecided voters at the 11th hour. That's the way I feel. And I think it's important. It's safe. It's secure. They do a wonderful job with it. And if you haven't voted on the new machines, take time during this primary to go. And I'm very, very impressed with the new machines.
It's a very good experience, and there are multiple steps to it, though.
Correct.
You have to get used to it.
You have to get used. They give you the I call the voter card when you go in. And
honestly, I think it was easier to vote on the Shoup electronic machine than it is on the new machines.
Yeah.
Because you're putting a card in. Sometimes it doesn't go in correctly, and you need help from one of the poll workers. Then there's like an acceptance thing you have to do even before. There's...
You have to. You get to see who you voted for, and then you get to accept or not accept in case you hit the wrong button or you want to change your mind. So, to me, it's you got to be schooled with this. You got to practice it. So that's why I'm saying if you want to go vote in a primary, go take the chance. It's going to be a low turnout in a primary. On the Republican side, we have one primary fight, and that's with Curtis Bashaw in his U.S. Senate. On the Democratic side, there are some local races in Pleasantville, a couple county committee races in Atlantic City, and on that side you have a congressional primary as well as the Senate primary. So Democratic Party has a lot more interest than the Republican Party at this point in time.
How much aggravation did Andy Kim cause the Atlanta County clerk and your fellow clerks around the state?
Fellow clerks were kept extremely busy because we were in uncharted waters, as I like to say. You know, when you're used to doing something, and for me, I had been through two complete election cycles without one error. We had it down pat. They changed gears.
And then the law of unintended consequences, probably Republicans will lose the line, and the entire long-time tradition and practice of a regular Democrat, regular Republican line will be gone. Thank you, Andy Kim.
I agree with you 100%, Harry.
What
the way of the line
is
going to go away, the way of the dodo bird.
Because he was so selfish.
Yes.
So self-indulgent. So self-absorbed. Gentlemen, Joe Girallo, have a great day.
Thank you so much, Harry.
Great to be with you. Brian Kilmeade begins right now. I'll see you in 19 hours and 54 minutes. And I am 3 times published already on the app.